This is We All Be, news-free Dixie for the 21st century. See how it works? Somewhere. Can you dig it?
And so just want you to know. Man, I looked at that smile on your face just now. And the first time I ever wished I was a photographer to take that picture and let the world see that honesty and that integrity. And know some of the things I know, how you drive all over the country to chase us down. Chase us down. Okay? We move so fast. I don't know if you're married. I don't know if you're a family. I don't know if you're a wife. Okay? But when we get on here, we bosom friends. Anytime I see you, I stop whatever I'm doing. Hey, my man, how are you? Hey. Hey, man, what, that's, I owe that to you. It's an obligation that you have. How old are you?
Oh, 36.
So you don't have the right to do what 36 people do. You don't have the right to go to the dance or go to the party. You don't have a right to take that trip to Europe when I might need that plane fare to fly somebody else to feed my people that love me. Mm-hmm. You feed them. Oh, it's one thing being hungry from food. Right. There's another thing being hungry for information.
That's right.
And that's you the feeder. You got to be the farmer. You got to grow the crop. Huh? You got to till the grain. And at nighttime, when you hear something that sounds like water, you got to go see if the crop's going to be flooded. That's your job, man.
Hey, everybody, this is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn. A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that jingle review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014. And so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace. Greetings, family. Welcome back. Back again. A new year. Tell a friend. Welcome back. Brother Ron is back. Still black. Light skin, but still black. Do-do-do-do-do-do. It's Brother Ron, y'all. How y'all doing? Happy New Year. Joy to the world. And this is We All Be, news-free Dixie for the 21st century. It's an honor to be back here. I hope I'm coming in loud and clear. I'm being amplified. Thank you for tuning out to tune in to get in where you fit in with Brother Ron. See how it works somewhere, right? It's a lot to talk about, a lot to digest. I'll just try to make sure I had everything working. We are in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. I've been having issues with technology, a classic sign of Mercury retrograde. Working on my computer, my normal computer ain't working right now. But I'm working on one that I actually had fixed a while back.
I go through computers like some people go through shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like I go through computers like that. But I just want to get on and weigh in about what I've been hearing closer to home, real close to home. We lost a real one in terms of Sister Lola Mitchell, better known as Gangsta Boo, but her friends in inner circle and even biggest fans called her Lola. She loved to be called Lola. People ask me, Brother Ron, have you had any run-ins with the late great Lola Mitchell, aka Gangsta Boo? Uh, I seen her perform, let's say about 7 years ago, in her hometown in Memphis. Around the same time, one of her former band members was dying, Koopsta Nika of 3-6 Mafia. It's crazy to think about because we lost Koopsta Nika back in October 2015. He was just 40 years young. But even before that, almost 2 years before that, we lost Lord Infamous, the Scarecrow. I mean, these guys were brilliant lyricists. They had an amazing flow. Y'all talk about Takeoff. I'm sure Takeoff borrowed heavily from the Mafia 3-6 or 3-6 Mafia in terms of flow. Memphis was known for his legendary flowers. Some of my favorites include Skinny Pimp. You know, matter of fact, kind of like I love Key Glock because he reminds me of a young Skinny Pimp, but with a different touch on it. It's kind of like he got his own style, but it reminds me of Skinny a little bit. But we lost Lord Infamous back in 2013, December 20th, I believe, 2013. I want to say one day before the winter solstice, at the age of 40. So what is it about the 3-6 Mafia where their members are dying in their early 40s, man? What up, man? What's going on, man? You understand? Not only that, you think about also, they did a song called "Sipping on Some Scissor," sipping on some scissor. I love that song. I don't do no lean. I don't drink lean. I don't endorse it. I don't promote it. But that song show was catchy. And you know, they did a collaboration with Pimp C and Bun B. You know what I'm talking about. I know anybody that loves Southern hip hop know who they are. Bun B and Pimp C. There is a lot of things going by so fast. We lost Pimp C December 4th, 2007, which was also the death date of Chairman Fred Hampton Sr., but also the birth date or life affirmation day of Sean Carter, known as Jay-Z, Jehovah, Hove, one of my favorite floors of all time. I know people got issues with his politics and how he moves in the business world and how he deals with so-called friends, but he's an amazing floor. He got everything. He got everything you will want in a rapper in terms of his flow, his style, wordplay, all that stuff, voice. You know, Hove, he got the package, but he's my number 2 behind Tupac. Tupac is my forever one. He's my forever GOAT when it comes to rap. I measure everybody against Tupac. Tupac was a extraordinary force of nature. Albeit briefly, he made his mark for ages to come, in my humble opinion, because he's still the measuring stick. Even like when you look at basketball, you know, regardless of who got the most records, who got the most rings, people tend to measure everybody against Michael Jordan. You know, we just lost Pele. To me, Pele is the GOATest of the GOATs. I mean, in soccer, they try to say, well, so-and-so's no, nobody's in the same league as Pele. He's in a different universe altogether. See, to me, that's really the GOAT. He's a GOAT. He won 3 World Cups, right? Won his first one as a teenager. And then when people think of soccer in America, in United Snakes of America, they think of Pele. He actually played for the New York Cosmos for a couple of seasons, 2 or 3 seasons, and nobody's ever going to score more goals than. He's an all-time scorer in soccer. I mean, he got over 1,281 goals scored, right? And or some sources say 1,279, depend. But Nobody comes even almost half to that, I think. I mean, barely. I don't think nobody got 700 goals scored in soccer, let alone 1,000. So, like, it's like when you look at Tom Brady, regardless of what you feel about Tom Brady, when he decides to hang it up, it's going to be a while before somebody catch him in terms of passing yards and touchdowns. I mean, you got somebody like maybe outside like Patrick Mahomes. You got to stay healthy. You know, you got to be healthy. And we saw what happened, unfortunately, last night with the Monday Night Football game. Was suspended. Prayers out to the young man who was hurt real bad for the Buffalo Bills. But the fact that they not only stopped, you know, to give him medical attention, but they actually canceled or suspended the whole game. This 2023 year is going to be something like a beast. It's going to be very beasty. It's going to be beast mode in 2023. This could be another 2016 or 2020, perhaps. The way it started out is crazy. The way it ended, you know, with the passing of Barbara Walters and the Pope Benedict and Pele and some other people, one of the Pointer sisters, got a new attitude, got a new year, a new attitude, but same old, it seems, right? A lot of people checking out of here, young and old. My timeline, my social media is inundated with people checking out of here. I don't care if you're 100 years old, if you're 25, if you're 40. People have been checking out of here, giving childbirth, black women, beautiful black women, young black women checking out of here post childbirth. When you look at their Facebook pages and stuff, they're happy. Oh, I got my baby girl is coming. We can't wait for her to be here. Not realizing that once baby girl get here, you gone. You out of here. So I've been seeing a lot of that. It could be very depressing to look at all that stuff, but it's life. It's a new life. It's a new day, but same old. You know. Hey, sister, I want to give a shout out to y'all in the room. Thank you, King. Lamio. I hope I said it right. I don't know. Many blessings to everyone we receive that. Thank you for checking in. Give me that butter love. Butter love. What's up, butter love? Thank you for checking in. Happy New Year to you, beautiful queen. Yeah. But it's a lot to talk about. It's a lot to digest. And I keep on being reminded when I hear about these celebrity deaths that nobody dies a natural death in show business. So my Jagna told me, Mr. late great Emerson Abel Jr., he told me, Ron, nobody dies a natural death in show business. I'm glad to make you laugh. I'm glad I can make you laugh. It's all good. Made my nights, really. And Sister Darian. What's up, Darian? Thank you for the New Year's cheer. We love you madly. I'm just now getting used to this 2023. I'm in the third day. It's like a reset button for me. I'm now learning how to work backwards into the year, like how I want to end my new year. How I wanted to end 2022 is how I want to start 2023. If that make any sense, I want to get all this amazing stuff out there as quick as possible, but also keep myself pacing, give myself patience, love, grace, understanding, forgiveness, and also be lovable, but put myself first more so than I ever did in my life. Not because I'm trying to be selfish or selfless. Not being selfish, but self-preservation, but also because I got a thing I want to do. And there's no guarantees. Like Gangsta Boo, she died at 43 years young. That's too young to die. And she'll never get old. No, she's forever young, forever the pioneering trailblazer. You know how they do it. They probably do like with 3-6 Mafia. If they decide to do a reunion now, everything's different. Well, they'll do holograms. I can see them do holograms, Gangsta Boo and Kustanika and Lord Infamous. But you think it's strange. You think about, Rolling Stones still around, right? Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, they still performing. Last time they lost somebody with Brian Jones, it was back in 69 or something. Was 69 a very good year? I don't say was it Brian Jones. Was that a guy named the Rolling Stones founder that died in his swimming pool, allegedly by accident? Is it Brian Jones? Yeah, Brian Jones, right? What year was that? He died back in 69, July 3rd, 69. the founding member of the and the original leader of the Rolling Stones. Look up Brian Jones. They found him in the swimming pool. Just like they found Dr. King's brother, A.D. King, the next year in 69. They both were found in their swimming pools in 69. Think about that. Dr. King's brother, A.D. King, and also Brian Jones, the founder and original leader of the Rolling Stones. But you don't hear about them dying too much. No, Mick Jagger and them still kicking it. And they got to be 80 something. If not 80 something, late 70s, early 80s. But you got rappers dying at 36 and 43 and 40 and 22. Memphis took a lot of L's over the last couple of years. Like Young Dolph, he was 36. A.L.L, just like Gangsta Boo was and is A.L.L. Taking a lot of losses, man. Memphis has taken a lot of losses in the rap game. My thing is it's the good ones that's dying. It ain't the terrible ones on sound. Ain't the SoundCloud rappers, no disrespect, that's dying. It's the good ones. It's the innovators. It's the people that had unique voices that have been silenced. And it's a shame that I don't find out about a lot of these people until they're dead. You know, like Pop Smoke. I didn't really know about Pop Smoke until he was popped and smoked out in L.A. Until he was popped and smoked. So that's like your words create worlds. And this is what I want to talk about tonight too. The power of conjuring things, of manifesting things, of the things that Black people go through because of what we choose to manifest. Like you think about, you know, Run DMC, right? My Adidas, right? My Adidas. Think about how much money they made Adidas. Did they get ownership of the company? Did they get a percentage of shares of stock? Think about it. Anytime Black folks recognize something and hype up something, it makes everybody else wealthy except for us. You know, now you look at like Buddy Holly, right? You know, they said the day the music died was when him and Richie Valens and the Big Bopper got killed in that plane crash, right? On their way to a gig back in the late 50s, well, about February 59, I want to say. But Buddy Holly, even though he was a country boy, a Texas boy, he's from Texas, Lubbock, Texas, he respected the Black crowd at the Apollo. He wanted the approval of Black people. He wanted Black people to validate the greatness of his music. Even you think about Elvis, you know, he had, you know, Whitney Houston's mom was one of his background singers. Whitney Houston mom, right? He had, you know, he hanged out with B.B. King and a lot of other Black stars. You know, he took from our so-called culture, right? But we showed him the way. And what people don't understand, you know, Elvis's birthday is coming up, Life Affirmation Day, January the 8th, the same as R. Kelly, who is the king of you know, R&B. They're trying to destroy R&B like they're trying to destroy R. Kelly, and that's another topic for another day. But I'm just warming up the crowd. It's fascinating, man. Nobody dies a natural death in show business. Emerson Abel Jr., my mentor and the founder, I call him Jegna. I hate to use the word mentor, but y'all, a Jegna is what y'all think a mentor is, but a mentor is not what you think a Jegna is. But Mr. Emerson Abel Jr., you know, he worked at Stax. He knew Otis Redding. He worked for Isaac Hayes. He was Isaac Hayes' high school band director at Manassas High School, kicked him out the band, ended up working for Isaac, helping him along with Onzy Horn, singing, another great one, helped him, you know, create his masterpieces like Shaft, helped him arrange, because Isaac could not read music, but he had perfect pitch. I mean, he was just a well-respected musician among musicians, right? Because he had a vision, and they helped him make his vision real. And everybody needs their help. But Mr. Abel would tell me stories about the Otis Reddings, about the A.L.L. Jackson Sr., you know, who got killed in a home invasion. Wife is under a suspicion, on a cloud of suspicion for years. People believe maybe his wife may have had something to do with that home invasion when he got killed, because the guy who allegedly killed him was at one time the great blues singer Denise LaSalle's boyfriend, from my understanding, and he got killed in a shootout with the FBI out in the Pacific Northwest. And A.L.L. Jackson, if y'all know who A.L.L. Jackson, Sr. or Jr. rather, Al Jackson Jr. was. His daddy was a famous band leader in Memphis known as Al Jackson Sr. But Al Jackson Jr. was the drummer for Booker T and the MGs. You know, he'll produce music for Al Green and so many other people. He was a phenomenal music talent, but he was killed under suspect circumstances in his home in Memphis. And I told you, Memphis got a reputation for making random acts of violence look like, or making professional hits, excuse me, look like random acts of violence or randomness. Because even with it's thundering out here, the universe, so God is speaking right now. But even with Gangsta Boo, that stuff is weird to me. It's very weird, you know. It's a very weird phenomenon, right? If you start thinking about, I saw her interview on Drink Champs recently, Drink Champs with Nori. I don't know if Nori gonna last that long. If they really drink like that, if they actually drinking like that, I don't know if that show gonna last five seasons. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, they working for P. Diddy, man. You know P. Diddy track record. You know how to make money off of dead people. P. Diddy is an expert in making. I'm surprised P. Diddy don't even own a funeral home at this point. He makes so much money off of dead people. It's ridiculous. He makes a lot of money off of dead people. You know, you think about, I want to segue a little bit. You think about Jaguar Wright, right? Jaguar Wright, I think she's a fellow Taurus like I am. People keep on saying, I hear people say, well, Jaguar Wright ain't telling the truth. I'm going to tell you something. Tasha K was sued by Cardi B for millions of dollars, right? Tasha K was sued by Cardi B for millions of dollars, right? I have not heard one single lawsuit being sent Jaguar Wright's way. You understand? And you got, you know, she got some credibility. First of all, she has an amazing vocal talent. And, you know, in that business, it's not about how talented you are. It's about other things. It's about anything but actual talent. Because they could take anybody and make anybody to a star. It's like you could be a movie star and not be a great actor. You got great actors who never can be movie stars. But you got movie stars that could never be great actors. There's a difference. People got to understand. It's like somebody broke it down. I think it was the great Ornette Coleman, jazz revolutionary. He said, the music business is different from the business of making music. I'm paraphrasing what he said. He said the music biz, the music industry is different from the business of making music. And it is. Because, you know, a lot of your favorite stars and stuff, you think they actually wrote a lot of that stuff, or even that they're actually using their actual voices, not even them. Think about Milli Vanilli. I used to love Milli Vanilli, right? And then they had the infamous situation where they were on Saturday Night Live or one of these shows on TV, and it was lip syncing, and then the record started skipping, and one of them ran off the stage, right? And they didn't, you know, to me, it didn't bother me per se. If you start thinking about this bubblegum industry, right? Or you think about what Quincy Jones, you know, he gossiped like a little girl a couple years ago. People say he had dementia or something. I don't know. You know how Quincy was talking about how, you know, Richard Pryor and Marlon Brando was playing poker, you know, how they was playing poker. And then Quincy talked about how they supposed to be recording Ringo Starr. But he told Ringo Starr to go have lunch somewhere, and they brought in a very competent, brilliant jazz drummer to take his place on the recordings. They do that all the time. Like, even look at the phenomenon, some of these bands from the 60s, right? You know, there's this area in California called Laurel Canyon, L-A-U-R-E-L Canyon. A lot of the great music acts from back in the day, the white ones, like, they got connection to that area. Like, people think that's like a location for military intelligence operations. But a lot of the people that we love from back in, I think Frank Zappa, one of those brilliant musicians and intellectuals, you know, people trying to figure out when they go listen to certain groups live back in the day, back in the 60s, these white rock groups or whatever, folk groups, whatever you want to talk about. They talked about how they sounded different live than on their recordings. No, people say they don't sound like how they sound like on their recordings. And this is nothing new, because a lot of times the people that they tell you are the music stars that recorded that stuff did not record that stuff. They would have brilliant session musicians that you don't know about. Like, you got to go, like, people from, like, you know, it's funny about America. People that are non-America or non-American know more about American history and culture than a lot of times so-called American citizens. You know, people from Japan could know more about South Memphis and South Memphis music history than black folks who still live in South Memphis, who family been in South Memphis for generations. They'll go to them hole-in-the-wall clubs in North Memphis that you need to go through a metal detector to. You know, you got clubs in North Memphis, you got to go through a metal detector, right? But you got folks from all over the world that go to that club. There are folks that live around the corner, they're afraid to go to that club. You got folks that come from Germany and Italy, they'll go to those places. It's like you look at Memphis as an interesting place. Gangsta Boo is from Black Haven, but it's known officially as White Haven. But black folks rechristened it as Black Haven because back in the day it was White Heaven. White Haven was White Heaven. You know, Graceland is located in White Heaven, White Haven. There were Elvises, but now White Haven, you got, you know, a substantial number of black homeowners, right? But Al Green, the Right Reverend Al Green, has his church there in the heart of White Haven. I've been to Reverend Al Green's church several times. We gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award the last time I was there. I would suggest anybody, while you still can, go to that man's church one Sunday. He be there most Sundays. He's there most Sundays, right? He always threatening people to give a concert. He said, Lord and Jesus, Lord and happiness, faith and holiness. Hey, hey, hey. He'll try, I like you gonna turn a gospel song into one of his hot butter love soul, baby making music songs, right? But if you go to his church on Sundays, there'll be more people there from not just across the country, but from around the world. I went to his church like a couple of times, or and a handful of times. It was folks from like Germany, Africa, Italy. You had a motorcycle gang that came from across the country just to hear Reverend Al, just to be in his presence. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you got folks that live in the neighborhood. His church been there for about 40 years. It probably a lot of folks that live in White Haven that never been to Al Green's church. But when Al Green makes his transition, think about all the tributes that's going to come Al Green's way. But he's gone on now. But I'm saying, black folks in Memphis had Al Green in the heart of White Haven, not that far from Graceland, for over 40 years. He's there. Like you can see a free Al Green mini concert just about every Sunday. This is Memphis is such a weird place because now Nashville is the it place, right? It was for a long time the most musicians per capita any place in the country was Memphis. Now is Nashville. They're the number one place for musicians to go. I mean, you know, living, you can make a living just on this recording industry in Nashville, country and gospel. That's the recording industry. You can make a living just being a session musician in Nashville, then songwriting. And you got places where you actually can practice your craft and make a decent wage. Memphis got an amazing music history. It's non-existent in Memphis. It's a dang shame how they do our music heritage in this part of the country. Memphis, so many great folks that not even from Memphis, but they got Memphis roots and connections. And you know, you just can't tell the story of American music history without talking about Memphis. It's impossible. But it's taken for granted because it's a small group of elites. And then they got their goons, the handkerchief head Negroes, the boule. That's their army to keep the Negroes in check. You know, Memphis is amazing, but you got a place like Gangsta Boo. Gangsta Boo died in Memphis. She was visiting Memphis. I think she died at her mom's home. She lived out in Cali. I want to see she lived in Los Angeles. But I mean, 3 6 Mafia made this album called The Most Known Unknown, right? It came out, when did The Most Known Unknown? Right around the time they won the Oscar, I believe. I think it came out in 2006. 3 6 Mafia is one of the most influential hip-hop rap groups of all time. 3 6 Mafia is up there with Wu-Tang Clan, A Tribe Called Quest, NWA, Bone Thugs and Harmony, they held their own against Bone Thug. Y'all want to say, and let's say if Bone Thugs use a hologram, let's say if Eazy-E and Tupac and Biggie was around, they probably could have won. They could use a hologram for Tupac and Biggie and Eazy, but it probably wasn't in the budget. But people don't appreciate just the vastness of the catalog of 3 6 Mafia. Not to then you got to consider this like what Juicy J has done independently as a producer, and what DJ Paul has done, and the other things they have done, and the people in the group. They are an amazing group. They got a bigger catalog than Bone. Bone has some mega hits. Bone has mega hits, but their catalog is not as deep as 3 6 Mafia. And like that sound, even the flows, you can't have Amigos or none of no cases right now without a 3 6 Mafia. You think about Lord Infamous and the Scarecrow. You think about Coops the Nickel. You think about Country Brat. Yeah, man, yeah, man, rob, yeah, I kill, yeah, I steal. Yeah, I put them bodies in the field. You can't have rap, you can't have the emergence of Southern rap, of hip-hop without 3 6 Mafia in the mix. You can't have it happen without Memphis, period. People talk about Atlanta, you could talk about Houston. They don't happen without Memphis. The only problem with Memphis was that people were not united. Like it's crazy to find out from that interview that Gangsta Boo did on Drink Champs recently that Juicy J was a backup DJ for 8-Ball and MJG. Orange Mound's finest. Orange Mound was the first neighborhood in the country that was created for Black homeowners. That's Memphis. It didn't happen in New York. It didn't happen in L.A. or Detroit. It happened in Memphis. Orange Mound was the first community made for Black home ownership in the country. Melrose High School, right? But 8-Ball and MJG went to Ridgeway High School out in East Memphis. But they Orange Mound's finest. When I used to go to Houston back in the 90s to visit my sperm donor down in Houston, my stepbrothers will be bumping 8-Ball and MJG. I go throughout all of Houston to the Galleria, the mall. They bumping 8-Ball and MJG. You would have thought that 8-Ball and MJG was from the Fifth Ward, like the Ghetto Boys or something like that. You would have thought they were from Houston and not from Memphis. Even if you look at a Ludacris or a T.I. or Little John, Crunk was not created in Atlanta. Atlanta was in position to exploit and amplify Crunk movement, but Crunk started in Memphis. There are receipts, there have been documentaries, books written about this, and even the Atlanta rappers would tell you where they got that swag, where they got that stuff from. You talk about, if you listen to early T.I., like I want to say his first official debut album, I like T.I. T.I. got a great catalog. I like him. Y'all can talk about his comedian status, and you can talk about how he raised his children, but T.I. was one of the greatest rappers of all time. And on his first album, I think his first official debut album, he talks about Memphis and Orange Mound. These guys could name streets in Memphis, like Jeezy. They talk about Ronnie Woods and all this stuff on Preach and stuff. Memphis is legendary like that. People don't understand that Stagger Lee, that folktale guy, you need all these folktales are not. John Henry was a real dude. Stagger Lee was a real guy. Stagger Lee was from Memphis. Read about the legend of Stagger Lee. He's buried somewhere in St. Louis, right? When Louis Armstrong was growing up, the biggest black pimp in New Orleans was a guy named Clerk Wade. Clerk Wade was from Memphis. He was like Louis said, he was a very handsome, dark-skinned brother, had all the women. I think his bottom B killed him at a saloon. And he had one of the biggest funerals in New Orleans during that time period, back in the early 1900s. But his name was Clerk Wade. That's a brother from Memphis. He was putting it because Memphis known for creating pimps and lawyers and preachers. Sometimes you get 3 in 1, but Memphis is known for pimps, lawyers, and preachers. People really good with the mouthpiece. That's what Memphis is known for, making easy money, right? Memphis is known for having cats with a certain swag and flow and way of speaking. Colorful language, Maine. No lemon lane, Maine. Maine, right? But that gets to the rappers. Like even this current crap of rappers, there's no place in the country. I'm not trying to I can't think of any place in the country with a diversity of rap personalities like Memphis. Like you got in one generation, you got an NLE Chopper, you got a Black Youngster, you got a Pooh Shiesty, you got a Key Glock, you got a Moneybag Yo, you got a Glorilla. This is Memphis. They some of the hardest and hottest rappers out in the country. This is a generation, but then you think about a generation or so before how Memphis rappers could not unify like they did in Atlanta, how they could not get along. You understand? Because a lot of cats took their talents to the ATL. Memphis wasn't unified, but you look at Ludacris. He talks about the greatness of Memphis. He was in Hustle and Flow, of course, but even he paid homage. Project Pat. You know how many people be quoting Project Pat, trying to sound like him and his flow and stuff? It's about the bitter, it's about the hippie, hungry hippo, it's about the zippo, all that stuff, right? You think about the influence of Juicy J. I mean, all these guys, ain't no place like Memphis. There's no place in the country that produce these type of personalities, man. They are interesting. And even in this part of the country, the Mid-South, the Mississippi Delta, there's some unique characters that come out of this thing. But diversity of sound, but yet you cannot even get no play on a radio station a lot of times in your hometown. Now, when I was growing in Memphis in the 90s, when I was growing up, they did honor local artists on the radio. They did play 3-6, they played Skinny Pimp, and a couple other originals out of here, right? But you know, now it's different. But now they still playing because some of the hottest rappers right now are from Memphis. And unfortunately, with this young group, see that I'm not the targeted audience. So I don't really know a lot of these people until something unfortunate happens, some type of misfortune visit them. It's like even with Big Scar. You know, Big Scar died at 22. They say it was a drug overdose, right? I think he died in front of his girlfriend, allegedly. I didn't really know about Big Scar like that. And then once he died, I got curious. So I basically started streaming his first, I guess his official debut with Gucci Mane, the Grim Reaper. He was known as the Grim Reaper, the big Grim Reaper, right? Words create worlds, man. He was talking about death. He was all into that lifestyle. And it came up on it, claimed him. Death claimed him early. And he's good. Big Scar is actually, he has talent. He had a way of rapping that was like some type of innovative form of freestyle, word association and stuff. I don't think he wrote stuff down. It just flowed to him a certain type of way. And that he had a talent, but he's dead at 22. Now with technology, they could take stuff he probably did in the studio. They could remix things. Hell, they could even bring him back in a hologram now. But you know, it's just sad because it was like he was on the cusp of superstardom. Like he was supposed to tour with a Key Glock starting in March, and now he's out of here at 22. Think about what you was doing at 22. Everybody got to think about, before we could judge these people so harshly, think about what you were doing at 22. This is important to think about. I mean, see in the chat. I know people. Thank you, Brother Bowden. We love you. Madly, thank you for tuning in or tuning out to tune in to get in where you fit in. Right, Pastor Troy. I love Pastor Troy. I'll listen to some Pastor Troy. Pastor Troy is so underrated, man. He need to get his flowers. He need to be on Drink Champs. I know he got some stories to tell. Yes, indeed. Recipes. I mean, but you know, you got to start thinking, right? And I'm 42. See Dolores Tucker. She's a righteous ancestor. She had a point about the music. Reverend Calvin Butts, he's a righteous ancestor now. He had a point about the music. I used to laugh at Reverend Calvin Butts back in the day because, you know, Bone Thug and Harmony, example of his speech. We're not against rap. We're not against rappers, but we are against those thugs. It was so hard because I used to look at the box. You know, he used to have the box videos on demand back in the day. Y'all remember the box? I know I'm old like a dinosaur now. I'm talking about the box, right? That's a 90s phenomenon in the box, right? But it's the thuggish bone. That stuff was so hard, but he hit Reverend Calvin Butts. I hope he getting paid royalties off there. I hope he got paid royalties off of that or some type of publishing, because that set it off. That really was a very, but they were telling the truth about the music, man, because even if you look at what's going on now, like I did a commentary recently because some dude Fontumento, and I'm not mad about it. I just love the fact that whoever this person is, gave me a chance to talk about a phenomenon I've been witnessing for almost 10 years now, that I acknowledged for 10 years, that they don't dance no more. You know, black women and black dudes don't dance together a lot of times. I see women dancing together. I see guys dancing together. I don't see a lot of us, intermingling like that. And I had posted a recent video of me dancing, and somebody called me a narcissist, this fundamental person. And I'm thinking, like, I was laughing. I said, I think he's a narcissist, excuse me, because he's making assumptions about how the night was going. Actually, I was the only dude dancing. It was a lot of dudes there. They wasn't dancing. They were too good, or they were laughing at me. I don't know. It was women dancing. I was the first person to start people dancing because I danced with a beautiful seasoned lady who used to babysit me back in the day. We started dancing to some blues, and then made other people comfortable to get on the dance floor. But at the same time, I'm not a wallflower. I live off the wall. I'm like Michael Jackson living off the wall. I'm always dancing because, to me, I don't go to clubs to try to pick up and screw and do stuff like that. I go out when I party. It's about really exercising. It's a cathartic experience. It's about feeling good and really choosing happiness, because a lot of times people want to depend on other folks for their happiness, and that's not how it works. Like, you are responsible and obligated to make yourself happy. Happiness is a choice regardless of what you're going through. And I was celebrating the fact that around this time last year, I was having foot issues. Like, I had this hole in my foot because I was picking at a callus, and I didn't let it heal properly. So I would go to the gym. I'll be running like 2 to 4 or 5 miles, and I'll be working, and it didn't heal the way it should, and it healed, and then it came back again. And so I was dealing with this issue. I actually had a hole in my foot, and I still was dancing on my foot like an idiot. But it's so grateful to know that, around that time last year, I was dealing with that, but then my foot is healed, and to make a point, I'm dancing. I was still dancing like I was dancing, but I was celebrating. And for people to say, well, you being selfish, like the black women, they was waiting for somebody to ask them to dance, and they just said that's why they walked away. I said, what are you talking about? They didn't ask me. I was dancing with women. I wanted to dance with women, but they want to dance with other women. And that's been the thing, and that's really been going on for a while. Like, I went to a wedding this past year, a beautiful wedding, but the girls were dancing with the girls and guys would dance with the guys, and the guys were scared to approach the girls. And the girls, I think it's weird. It's a weird time because we all been programmed and been trained by social media. Social media is the new MK Ultra. It's the new COINTELPRO. You don't need an agent to spy on your people. You give all your information out for free on social media. Y'all overshare. Even with the TikTok, I have yet to register for a TikTok thing because I don't want China all in my business like that. I already got the United States and the NSA all in my business. Why do I need China? But y'all don't care about that because y'all want the likes, y'all want the attention, y'all want the glory, but y'all don't know y'all story. So you look at what's going on right now, and even with get back to Drink Champs, I'm going to get to the Gangsta boot thing. I think I'm warming it up. How y'all like it out there? Oh, they healed because I had good care people. Like, shout out to nurse. This nurse, I had a doctor at first. He healed it, but then I guess he called success too soon, so it came back with a vengeance. Like, it was supposed to have been healed back in late June, early July of 2021. Then somehow, right before, just days before my great uncle funeral in Charleston, it came back with a vengeance. It came back and it busted on me. So I just I just wrapped it up, and then I went to see a specialist again at a different location in the same hospital system. and they got it fixed the last time they did me good. They helped, they healed. The first person was a doctor and good people. He actually brought like $300 worth of shirts from me, t-shirts. He was fascinated by my artwork, and he was a former musician. He actually was taught by my Jegna, Emerson Abel Jr. in Manassas High School back in the day. So he took a liking to me. He liked my artwork. So he actually brought like $300 worth of t-shirts from me that you could also buy at my Teespring if you are interested. But unfortunately, we called success too early, a win too soon, and it came back. And I went to another location, and they wrapped my foot up. They treated it on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, and it's been good since late January last year. So God is good. But there's a lot of people that have been through things. I have lost a lot of people. Like my social media timeline is clogged with all types of just tragedies, man. Young and old, people dying, giving birth, and people dying at 100. I don't think dying at 100 years old is really tragic, all things considered. Because I know I've seen people die at 25 and younger, man. They had their life in front of them, and when you at 100, and you still, you do the things you have done, you live the life, you have experienced tragedy, adversity, but yet you still endure and you leave a powerful living legacy. That's a beautiful story to tell. But life is still short whether you live to be 100 or if you die within a day of being born. Yes, hit the like button. Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. Yeah, DMX, Yeah, DMX. Whoop, where my dogs at? Well, nobody dies a natural law dog. Nobody dies a natural death in show business. Nobody. And I want to talk about the Drink Champs. Is it a curse on Drink Champs? Because you think about, Gangsta Boo went on Drink Champs, and next thing you know, she's dead, right? Who else? Takeoff was on Drink Champs recently. Next thing you know, he dead. I'm not laughing at that. DMX was on Drink Champs. He was dead for no time. It took a little bit longer for Young Dolph. Young Dolph was on Drink Champs, I believe, in 2018. They tried to get Young Dolph several times, and they finally got him in 2021. Like I said, who controls Drink Champs is on Revolt TV. Whose platform is Revolt TV that we know so far? Who's the front person? Who's the general manager? Who's the front person for Revolt TV? It's P. Diddy. This man should own a fleet of funeral homes. He makes so much money off of death, it's ridiculous. He make more money off of death than a mortician. He makes that long money. P. Diddy needs a funeral home, but his funeral home is the hip hop industry. But I'm not laughing at that. Like I look at Nori, ain't no way you could do Drink Champs and you're actually drinking alcohol at that rate and do it for 5, 10, 20 years. Is Nori gonna be around? Because even look at the Rat Pack, right? Dean Martin had a character he played on stage. Dean Martin would have a martini or some type of form of alcohol allegedly on stage drinking. People thought he was, a lush. From my understanding, what he was drinking was actually like apple juice or apple cider. He wasn't drinking real alcohol allegedly. He was just acting like he was drinking alcohol while he was working. But you do have functional alcoholics and stuff like that. You have people like that out there. Everybody's self-medicating some type of way. I mean, that's why I make it a practice to be as kind, as patient as possible with people, because I don't know what nobody's going through. Because people be smiling all day long, but they crying on the inside. They're looking for help. They're desperate, but they look happy on the outside. So it don't surprise me no more when I hear about if a person took their life, because everybody, the world's a stage. We wear the mask, right? Paul Lawrence Dunbar's We Wear the Mask. Everybody wearing masks, smiling faces, all that stuff. But yeah, the Drink Champs thing is interesting. Like, I don't look at Drink Champs like that, but I looked at the Gangsta Boo one, and it was really good. Nori has gotten better in not necessarily interrupting people, but that's his own thing. He's not a trained so-called journalist, because you got people that are trained in media, and they're a bunch of hacks. And I think he actually do have genuine enthusiasm for his guests and stuff like that. That he has a passion for the art form and for his guests. So I think it's nothing but respect and love, really. And because people talking about with Judge Joe Brown, you gotta stop interrupting him. I say, well, no, it's a two-way conversation, my man. Like even with Dick Greg, I mean, they take up all the air in the room and they get to talk, and it's good. We love them. They're very accomplished, but I have a right to ask some questions too. It's my platform. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all, they could do their own podcast. The judge actually could do his own. Because y'all want to hear from him. Judge, I'm Judge Joe Brown. Buy my barbecue sauce on JJ B for mayor of Memphis, Tennessee in 2023. Buy my barbecue sauce and vote for me. I may not set you free, but I'll make sure you have enough barbecue sauce to last you for at least 4 terms. So they can do that. It's anybody, but I'm thankful for these elders for imparting wisdom and for investing in us. But at the same time, it comes a time where you got to cultivate your own voice as well, too. And like I said, these should be two-way conversations, and it should be a back and forth and a give and take when you communicate with anybody. So the fact that Ye is missing, and nobody's really talking about that. Where the world has been quiet without Ye. It ain't really been quiet, but it has been quiet. Where is Ye? Where is Yeezy? For Sheezy. And he was on what, Drink Champs? Was he on twice this year? Where is Ye? He was naming names. That's how you really stay alive. Dick Gregory would tell you that when people used to tell him confidential information, he made sure he leaked it out to the world. Because he said that's the best way to stay alive. Because he said, why would they kill me if the information is already out there? See, that's what y'all don't get. Y'all would say, well, Kanye or Ye, he shouldn't have named the name. They kill you when you don't name the name. They still killing you. They kill you when you mind your own black business. What's Black Wall Street about? What's Rosewood? Y'all gonna start, y'all such lemmings. Y'all gonna start talking about the 100th anniversary of Rosewood. Y'all didn't care about no Rosewood for all this time. Last thing I thought about Rosewood was that John Singleton movie with Vin Rames, right? It was a good movie, actually. I liked that movie. It was dramatized, a lot of, but it showed, it had put exposure on that story of Rosewood, just like that movie about the 24th. Look at the 24th movie that came out a couple years ago. It's dramatization, but Picasso said it best. He said, art is a lie that makes us realize truth. Art is a lie that makes us realize truth. Art is a lie that makes us realize truth. So there's truth in a lot of things. Even when it's based on a lie, it could be rooted in truth nonetheless. And that Drink Champs thing is interesting because all them people were on Drink Champ. They were giving their flowers, as Nori would say, and they were sent on their way. I'm not saying that Nori had any dealings with that. I'm just saying I think it's fascinating. Gangsta Boo, y'all think it was an accident. I think it's by design. You think about who owns the catalog of the 3-6 Mafia. Who made the most money out of the group? And I'm not saying anything. I'm just looking who's holding the bag. Because y'all all about who's holding the bag. What's the bag? Get the bag. Don't be a lemon lane, man. Loud dog. Don't be a lemon lane. Get the bag, man. You know what I'm saying? Who holds the bag in 3? I remember several years ago on local news how Crunchy Black, one of the original members, Crunchy Black he got a distinctive voice and flow. He's a hype man. He's like almost like a mixture between Flavor Flav and ODB. Yeah, I rob. Yeah, I kill. Yeah, I put that body in the field. And then he would do the juke and all that. He had his own. He was phenomenal. He's a phenomenon. I love Crunchy Black. But they had him on news talking about how he wasn't getting no money out of all the stuff he did in the 3-6 Mafia group. I'm not saying he's not getting money now, but he was living in a regular apartment, a hole-in-the-wall apartment, no disrespect. It was like some type of low-budget apartment he was living in. He wasn't living high off the hog. He didn't have no mansion. And this guy was he was an important part of probably arguably one of the most important hip-hop groups of all time. They up there with everybody. Name of the group that has the influence, like Wu-Tang, like I said, Wu-Tang, Tribe Called Quest, Run DMC, I can't even think of Pimp C's group, right? With Bun B and Pimp C. From Port Arthur, Texas. I know they're from Port Arthur, Texas, outside of Houston. But I can't think. What was that group? What's Bun B and Pimp C? Man, I'm getting old, man. Jesus Christ. If y'all can help me in the chat, let me look. Pimp C. What is the group they was in? I know Chad Lamont Butler. Yeah, that's Pimp C. Yeah, UGK, the Underground Kings. Damn, I'm getting old. Jesus, that's horrible. I used to love UGK back in the day. Pocket full of stones. Thank you. Yeah, UGK. Thank you, Harold Washington. Got a pocket full of stone. Yeah, but Pimp C, he died crazy. They did that song "Sipping on Some Scissor," promoting the use of drinking lean. You know how many rappers that were lost because of lean? Think about DJ Screw, the founder, the Screw movement out of Houston. A lot of them cats came through Screw. A lot of Houston rappers. Houston was hot. They was holding down hip hop in the 2000s. I don't know what happened, but they was. I remember Mike Jones. Who was Mike Jones? Mike Jones, who Chameleonaire, Paul Wall. I like Paul Wall, Slim Thug. They was all out. They were like disciples and protégés of DJ Screw, who died under questionable circumstances. I want to say DJ Screw died in 2000, right? Chopped and screwed, that type of style. But he was just 28, I think. And then you had Big Mo, that big brother who sung them hooks for some of those songs back in the day. I used to like Big Mo. Big Mo died young too. I mean, lifestyle, man. I think he was drinking that lean. He was overweight too and all that stuff. But it takes a toll, man. When you get a certain age, things catch up with you. Like you look at these professional football players. You think, oh, they're gods. They're in great shape. Their physique. Now they suffering concussions, all types of injuries. They live long enough. They can't walk upright. Like Earl Campbell, one of the greatest running backs of all time. It took all their cartilage out of his knee. I know Curtis McClinton, Dr. McClinton. He was on the Kansas City Chiefs back in the day when they played in the first Super Bowl. He scored the first touchdown for the A.L.L. in the Super Bowl, which is now known as the American Football Conference of the National Football League. Dr. Curtis McClinton, he was a fullback and all that stuff, but he could barely walk down some steps. Because he got the cartilage gone, basically. It's like bone on bone and stuff like that. But he's a great man. But he did some work with Jim Brown, like Curtis McClinton. He's actually in that famous picture with all those grade A athletes around Muhammad Ali. We had Jim Brown and Bill Russell and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They was all around Muhammad Ali. He's right behind them, standing up, Curtis McClinton. I used to have a crush on his daughter back in college. But she's married now, and she's an anti-Dallas Cowboy fan. She's a forever Kansas City Chiefs fan because of her daddy. Dr. McClinton is a girl dad, whatever y'all call that stuff after Kobe. But anyway, what am I talking about? Oh yeah, Houston's finest right here. Definitely Fat Pat. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of cats that got lost them drugs, man. But it didn't start with hip hop though. To think about the drug phenomenon, you can't blame it on rap. It's like what Tupac said. He said they've been dying for years, so how can you blame us on America's Most Wanted? Igga's been dying for years, so how can they blame us? You go back into the history of our music, to blues and jazz, they were talking about drugs back then. I'm Louis Armstrong. You got the vapors. I ain't talking about no Bismarck kids. We got the vapors, the vipers, the muggies. Louis Armstrong smoked weed every day. He smoked weed every day. There are stories about Louis Armstrong smoking weed. Every time you look at Louis Armstrong, when you think about his music, when you listen to Louis Armstrong, when you see him in a movie, hello, darling, it's Louis, darling. He was high as hell, man. Louis stayed high and fly. He smoked weed every day. He actually did smoke weed. Smoke weed every day. Before Nate Dogg was even born, or probably before his parents were born, or maybe even before his grandparents were born. Louis Armstrong was smoking weed. And the reason why he said he smoked the weed was because he said it was an insulator against racism. He smoked weed to self-medicate from dealing with the horrors of racism and white supremacy. So y'all, like, you go back to like the Twitch boss. Louis always smiling, but he was in fear. Cause you know how the white folks thought. When Louis grew up in New Orleans, he came from a place called the Battlefield. And he grew up in Storyville and all that stuff, selling coal to the prostitutes in Storyville. He worked for a Russian Jewish family. Louis Armstrong could actually speak fluent Yiddish. He could actually speak fluent Yiddish, right? He could speak their language because this Russian Jewish family and the Konovskis, they looked out for Louis and they taught him things about their culture. And but It was a friend of his that told him, this guy named Black Benny, who was a pimp and a bass drum player down in New Orleans. And Lewis asked him about some professional advice about how can he become a professional musician or a successful working musician. And Black Benny told him, you find a white man that likes you, that even love you and defend you, become that white man's property. You become his Igga. And he told this story to Queen Elizabeth II at her dinner table with Prince Philip sitting by his side. He told that story to Queen Elizabeth that, you know, that's how he made it in the music biz. He became some white man's Igga. And the ultimate white man for Lewis was Joe Glacier, who was a Jew, a part of the Al Capone mob, the Jewish Mafia out of Chicago, who actually blood sacrificed Billie Holiday. He managed not only Louis Armstrong, but a lot of black acts, including Billie Holiday. And he basically gave up Billie Holiday to the feds. He basically helped kill Billie Holiday, his own talent. I think the reason why he did it was to protect Louis, because he got caught up with some drug charges, I think. And he said, I'm going to sacrifice Billie instead of Louis. He chose, it's like some Jerry Heller stuff, ain't it? You know, Jerry Heller, Easy's man. You know, Easy was his boy, right? Jerry chose Easy over NWA. The rest, you know, he chose to take care of Easy. And ultimately, Eazy-E was taken care of. As you all know, we know that now. Because now it's open knowledge. You know, Bone talked about it. Suge Knight talked about it. Drew Down recently talked about it. They took care of Eazy-E, all right. But this is nothing new. This is nothing new. This is a game. So you go back to, okay, let's talk about the Gangsta Boo thing. Matter of fact, before we talk about the Gangsta Boo thing, let's play some local news footage, right? Because I've been on here for an hour. I think the screen is holding up. Let's see. Yeah, because you self-medicate because we don't want to confront the issue that we got to deal with. A lot of people, we run away from problems instead of embracing it. I remember my grandfather, my mom's father, he talked about, you know, he's a World War II veteran. He was in the Battle of the Bulge. He participated in the D-Day Normandy invasion. He was there in the early days after the initial invasion. Part of the Red Ball Express, there was a bunch of truck drivers, predominantly Black Americans, who was responsible for delivering supplies to General Patton's army. Like they had to drive sometimes without headlights at night, getting shot at by snipers. Medgar Evers was also a Red Ball Express member as well, like my grandfather. And he talked about how they were told by commanding officers like Eisenhower, they'll give him pep talks. They say, you know what? The best way to survive is to run towards the danger, is to run towards the gunfire, run towards the danger. Don't run away from it, because when you run away from it, you're more exposed. You think about when you run away from danger, you think that you're safer by running away, but they were told to go forward, go towards the danger, embrace it. You have a better chance of survival. And evidently it worked for my grandfather, because I'm here talking to you all. And World War II ended back in 45. So, and that was 1944 with the D-Day Normandy thing. But let me play this local news clip about Gangsta Boo. And like I said, what a way to bring in the new year with this type of news. And you know, we're on, but this is day 3 now, and it's already some stuff happening. Like they actually cancel a whole football game. You know how they messed up Vegas? They canceled a whole football game for one player, not even a star player. He's not a well-known player. I mean, he's a young player. I feel sorry that he got injured, but ain't that strange that they would actually cancel a whole football game because a player went down with a unfortunate injury? Did they stop? Did they cancel the game where Lawrence Taylor broke Joe Theismann's leg was that on Monday Night Football? I'm not laughing at that, but did they cancel the whole football game because Joe Theismann got his leg ripped up real bad on national television? Was that Monday Night Football? I believe it was Monday Night Football with LT. And I really do believe if Tom Brady, or if they had the same rules that would allow LT to do what he did, Tom Brady would not be playing right now. He'd be happily married or unhappily married right now at home. He would not be playing at 45. If they had the same rules that Lawrence Taylor had back in the day, people like Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White and Derek Thomas and Bruce Smith, Tom Brady would not be playing right. Even how he play. But he still don't take away from his accomplishments. But anyway, that's weird. We living in weird. It counts the whole. They trying to figure out who's gonna have playoff spots, right? This is the second to the last game of the season. This is determining positioning for who makes the playoffs, who don't make the playoffs, who is division champs, who's the number one seed, and they cancel that game because one player. You know how bad the money was messed up in Vegas, probably over there. Who's making these calls? The games. But this year's gonna be one for the history books. It sounds like it's gonna make 2016 look like 2012. Oh, they're gonna make 2020 look like 2012. Well, let me play this. And we'll be right back. We'll be right back. We all be news free Dixie for the 21st century. We begin with I don't know if y'all picked up on that, but they was talking about how the family was surprised it wasn't foul play. Well, I thought that was an interesting comment to make, and what happened is a tragic event. But they said they was surprised it wasn't foul play. Y'all could pick back up on that. Channel 3. It's their video on their YouTube channel. But like I said, nobody dies from natural death in show business. She was at the Rail Garden, this popular music venue in Midtown Memphis, to bring in New Year's with 8-Ball and MJG. I think she was a special guest of 8-Ball and MJG. Memphis rap, Southern hip hop legends. They were bringing the New Year's together. And allegedly her brother was there as well, and he OD'd or had a bad response to some drugs, and they took him to the hospital, and he survived. And I know Law Dog, you said anybody interviewed the brother. I don't know if he's in the right mind state, let alone the right physical state to be interviewed right now concerning what happened to his sister. But from my understanding, different reports said they found her on the porch. She didn't even make it into the house, but she was on the property, I believe her mom's property. That's very unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. She recently, from my understanding, just did a music video with one of her longtime collaborators, producer, Drummer Boy. As you all know, if you know by Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Awards, we recently honored Drummer Boy as our homecoming court prince at the Orpheum Theater. He was very happy about that. His father and his mom came out in support, and he was happy. He came all the way from Atlanta to get there because he's relocated to Atlanta because it's hard to make it, even as an established Grammy-nominated, award-winning musician in Memphis. Memphis show you no love, especially if you're a native of this town, the so-called city of good abode. But they actually did I think parts of the music video at the train station. I'm not that far from the train station. I wish I would have known about it. Would have loved this to come out just to interact with Drummer and Gangsta Boo. I never personally met Gangsta Boo, but I actually saw her do her thing for her hometown with Run the Jewels. That's Killer Mike and LP. They did a song, and Gangsta Boo is amazing. I mean, I don't think people understand how great she was in terms just of her artistry, her flow, wordplay. I mean, presence. She had it all, man. I mean, man or woman. He had a lot of brothers, a lot of male rappers that love Gangsta Boo, man, because she was like, you just can't say she was just good for a girl. She was above average rapper to me. And you don't have Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion, or Lotto or Glorilla without Gangsta Boo. I mean, like she said, she's the blueprint, and she got an album coming out. I mean, it's just weird. It's like DMX had an album coming out. He was on Drink Champs. They just recently had Young Dolph album drop December 16th. Yeah, I need to cop that Young Dolph, man. That Young Dolph is cold. That production is great. Young Dolph, I mean, everything on that album is hot. I have some bangers I love, Beat Beat with 2 Chainz and Whoa. And he just has some bangers. It's a shame that he's gone, but I'm sure they got more coming from Young Dolph. He had an amazing work ethic. But Boo got an album coming out called Blueprint, so I know it's going to do pretty good numbers. And, it's weird because you got to think she's a sacrifice because why all of a sudden she getting all this notoriety all these years? I mean, most known, unknown. I mean, just had the misfortune of timing. She left 3 6 Mafia in the early 2000s, right before they won that Oscar. Can you imagine Gangsta Boo's contribution to it's hard out here for a pimp. Can you imagine her contribution? She could have won an Oscar. I'm not saying, I mean, it is what it is. She got what she got, but she left right before they became the most known. It was the most known unknown. But she was there when they got honored by the city. I think that she got recognized by the city. And I think it's weird. They said she was the second female member of 666 Mafia. And people trying to figure out who was the first female member. I mean, I don't know anybody. Lil Chat came later. I mean, but Gangsta Boo was first. Gangsta Boo was there. I don't know who was the first lady before Gangsta Boo. Evidently, she wasn't all that great. I don't know. Y'all tell me if y'all know about Memphis rap history. Who was the first female member of 666 Mafia? Because I don't know. And then like folks were trying to correct me. Cause I talk about Lord Infamous. Because I used to think that Lord Infamous was DJ Paul's brother. But he's actually his nephew. Now he's like almost 4 years older than DJ Paul. Lord Infamous, Ricky. They know him, his name is Ricky. But he's actually was 4 years older than DJ Paul. I mean, because I believe Lord Infamous was born in 73, and DJ Paul, I want to say he was born in 77. If I'm not mistaken. But now that's his nephew. His nephew is older than him. It's kind of like a Takeoff and Quavo situation almost. But I think Quavo is a little bit older than Takeoff. But like they real close in age, but DJ Paul considered him like a brother. He was closer to him than his own siblings because his old, I think, his siblings like a decade or so older than DJ Paul. I think he was like one of those surprise babies or whatever. But DJ Paul is the brother of Craig Pettis. Y'all know about Craig Pettis? Yeah, it's like Craig Pettis, like he's like up there with Big Meech, if not bigger than Big Meech. In turn, I know if y'all keep up with all that American gangster type of stuff, y'all fans of Black Mafia family. Craig Pettis was like. He was a big distributor back in not that long ago. He's in prison. I think he's doing 9 life sentences. He's in there for life in a supermax somewhere, I think. But he actually had a very close relationship with one of the biggest Mexican cartels of the time. He had a direct matter of fact. When the feds was looking for Craig Pettis, he was down in Mexico with the cartel hiding out. He was hiding out with the cartel. The man could speak several different languages fluently. But I mean, he was a big boss. They brought him down, but people compare him with Big Meech. Some people say he was bigger than Meech, but he's not. His story is not as well known as Meech, but he's well respected as far as the all the street legends go. Craig Pettis, but he was a brother or is a brother of DJ Paul. That's unique to think about. And what's interesting. I actually had a chance to meet Lord Infamous. It was back in March of 2013. That's me, a little bit slimmer. Outside of Megabus downtown Memphis. The brother to my right is Michael Sewell, who's known as Miscellaneous Boss at the time, Memphis rapper, good brother. Person to my left is Fraser Boy. Fraser Boy, part of the 3-6 Mafia. He's an associate of 3-6 Mafia. He's a co-writer. It's hard out here for a pimp. He got an Oscar, Fraser Boy. And then the dude at the bottom is Lord Infamous, Scarecrow, one of the underrated MC, amazing flow, amazing wordplay, imagination. He could have been bigger than Stephen King. If he wrote them horror novels, he was like on the level of a Stephen King in horror novels or John Carpenter in horror movies. He had this amazing, vivid imagination and amazing delivery. Actually caught a red eye from Atlanta on the Megabus, if you could say a red eye on Megabus in Atlanta. This is after I came from a meeting with Representative Cynthia McKinney, and that's why I met Dr. Randy Short and Dr. Jahi Issa, who just had a birthday recently on, I think, January the 1st. And I met the Irritated Genie. I met a lot of old Black Panthers, new Black Panthers, all types of Black activists down in Georgia. But I caught the Megabus too, and I caught the Megabus from Atlanta. So I was on the same bus as these guys the whole way, man. And this is back in March 2013. And like I said, by December 2013, one day before the winter solstice, Lord Infamous was dead. And it was weird because they say he died of a heart attack in his sleep. And he was dead for at least 5 hours in his sleep before he was discovered. He died at his mama's house in Memphis. He was just 40 years young. And people said he had, lifestyle issues in terms of drug abuse. I don't know him like that. I saw an interview from several years ago that DJ Paul did with Little Ricky, Lord Infamous son. They got a junior group of 666 Mafia, like 666 Mafia, the next generation, the seed of 666 or something like that. They did a DJ Vlad interview, and they said he had some health trials. He had like a stroke and a heart attack at 38. I mean, you don't think about people having strokes and a heart attack at 38, right? Rare. But people have heart attacks at any age. But I'm just saying, he actually had all type of health issues. I mean, he had a stroke and a heart attack at 38, and 2 years later, he's dead. And I know when he was on the bus, he was sick. But it was like, I look at it was the weather change because it's March. The weather change. You move from place to place. He was on tour with Frazier Boy and Miscellaneous Boss brother Michael Sewell. And I know he was sick on the bus. I thought he might just had like a cold or maybe like even pneumonia or something like that. Cause he was coughing up stuff. But anyway, he died later on that year. And then almost 2 years later, Koopstanika died. Another great talented artist, great wordplay and flow and all that about his stuff. I mean, 666 had some heaters. People don't understand that 666 had a legitimate beef with Bone. Because like they was the most known unknown. There's a lot of people that have benefited from the 666 style, music production, even the rappers. Look at Gangsta Boo. You look at, I talk about Koopstanika, Lord Infamous, Juicy J. I mean, look at all this stuff. Very talented bunch of people. But Memphis ain't the thing. They did things with Cash Money to tear the club up thugs. I love that Player Why You Hate It and all that stuff. They were doing things with Cash Money and all that stuff. And then you got to also think about they were dealing with Player Fly, one of the greatest Memphis rappers of all time. Talking about Player Fly. Nobody needs nobody crowning me. Why don't you crowning me, down in me, crowning me? Nobody needs nobody. Player Fly. Then you got Skinny Pimp. He was with 3-6. Some people think that Devontae stole some of Skinny Pimp's fire. Like that beat he did for Pop. I came to bring the pain, hardcore to the brain. That beat that Devontae, they said that's some Memphis stuff. That sounds some Memphis stuff from back in the day. And then, how people sampling Memphis music, whether it be Drake, whose dad's from Memphis, or whether it be Beyonce sampling old school Memphis. You got Tommy Wright III. You got so many amazing Al Capone with a K, not a C. So many amazing Memphis rappers, Gangsta Pat. So many amazing DJ Squeaky. I talk about Drummer Boy. He be on a lot of hits. You don't know this Drummer Boy because he's not doing like DJ Khaled. We the best. You Drummer Boy quiet about his stuff. He's a quiet assassin. But you look at his catalog, his work, he's well respected in the industry. And he took a lot of losses. He used to do stuff with Young Dolph. One of the first producers to really do big things with Young Dolph. Did some production work on his last album. Did work with Gangsta Boo. He did this Spree Well Spinning remix with Bun B and Player Fly. Dun, 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 dun. If you think about Gangsta Boo, man, stuff she did with Outkast, man, on Stank On Ya, Come When I Call. You think about the stuff she did with Killer Mike and LP. Think about the stuff she did with Little John. Man, Gangsta Boo was not just a female MC. She was well respected by the men. They love, Gangsta Boo had something special. And that Drink Champs interview was amazing because you saw how she wasn't like a hardcore, like mean-spirited person. She was so loving and lovable from my perception. And she was very intelligent and articulate about her viewpoints. And she gave everybody love. Like she had genuine love for everybody. Like she didn't talk bad about anybody. She just gave people love. And then she was honest. Like when Nori and them asked her about, choose between NLE Chopper and Black Youngster, who she preferred, she couldn't say, I don't listen to either one of them. But she gave Mia X a prop. That's another great one. Mia X is another great one. But Gangsta Boo, she should have been like a superstar, like on the level of like a Glorilla and all them, Megan Thee Stallion, but it's just marketing. It's not about talent at the end of the day. I mean, because she had the package. It's something else, but yeah, but like, it's weird that Lord Infamous and Coops the Nicka and Gangsta Boo out of here in their 40s, and Juicy J and DJ Paul, they still doing their thing. They still making a lot of money. I don't pocket watch like that. But they making their money, man. They making their Skrilla. They securing their bag. It won't surprise me. DJ Paul could be like a Barry Gordy. Live to be in your 90s, or Quincy Jones, Juicy J. I think they take care of themselves. But you know what interesting about Juicy J and Project Pat? Now they are brothers. And they come from a family of preachers and ministers. They got a group that worship the devil, that do devil worship music, allegedly. And they from a family of ministers. I think their father's a preacher. If I'm not mistaken, y'all can look that up easily. It's online. But even he said something that was interesting, that what broke up the group was drugs. Dealing with drugs broke them up. That what broke up 3-6 Mafia. And I want to read something I think is very important to read. He was on a podcast with Nas right after the I think the verses they did, the infamous verses with Bone Thug and Harmony. He was on a podcast with Nas talking about what broke up 3-6 Mafia. I'm gonna read something what he said. This is Juicy J about what happened to 3-6 Mafia. Just coming up, it's storming out here. It's a stormy. I was about to say it's storming Monday. It's a stormy Tuesday. But Wednesday's just as bad. I met Bobby Blue Bland. He was interesting. Love Bobby Blue Bland. Call it stormy Tuesday. And Wednesday is just as bad. I'm just joking. But life is interesting. But yeah, I'm trying to get this up. And we're dealing with Mercury retrograde. So, all right. Man, Mercury retrograde will teach you how to be patient, man. It teaches you how to be patient. Let's see if I can do this. And I'm glad the stream is holding up, because I think y'all let me know if y'all can't hear me or something like that, right? Y'all let me know. Yeah. Now it's not about talent, because like I look at, okay, that's a great point, Law Dog, because you look at, okay, if could Ella Fitzgerald make it today? Though I think about Ella Fitzgerald had one of the greatest voices of all time. She was one of the voices of the 20th century. Her range and all that stuff, amazing. But would they accept a Ella Fitzgerald as a superstar today, or would she be a star? Because you got people that are superstars, they don't have the range or vocal gifts of an Ella Fitzgerald. So could she have made it in today's climate? Think about Betty Wright. Betty Wright don't get enough credit. No pain, no gain. She just passed away not too long ago. Betty Wright, people don't think about Betty Wright a lot of times with great vocalists are concerned, unless the people that's in the know. I mean, she had an amazing range. I mean, she could whistle. She actually be whistling, high octaves and stuff like that. And I think about what's like Ariana Grande, like it's Grande, like Ariana Grande. She got a song called My Hair, and it's a catchy song, but she's like a little Tweety bird, when she hit them little high notes and all this stuff. And when you listen to a Betty Wright, that's a woman. That's a woman. And I love Minnie Riperton and stuff like that. But even Mariah Carey in her prime. But Betty Wright don't get enough credit, because that woman had an amazing voice. She had like amazing. It was anointing. And we don't talk about, like who controlled the narrative. Should we let Rolling Stone tell us who are the greatest singers of all time? Rolling Stone put everybody white on top and everybody black on the bottom, like it was a burnt pot on the stove. And like the white people mimicking us, they are bad mimicry of us. Like Why not? Why can't Jill Scott be as big as Adele? You know, why? You know, Erica Badu got her own thing. That's a unique. She got a unique voice, a unique style. She has a movement. You know, people talk about the Beehive. You some Baduists out there, some Baduism going on. Who decide who gets the get the recognition? You know, it's like you look at Otis Redding, who died under questionable circumstances over 55 years ago. This past December, Otis, people in Europe thought Otis was a white man. They didn't know he was a black man because they would not put Otis' face on his own creative work that would have white people on the cover. Like, you know, let's sing the Five Heartbeats, where they had white people on the cover of the Five Heartbeats records or albums. That was a normal practice back in the day. You know, shout out to Miles Davis for putting his beautiful wife on one of his album covers. Someday My Prince Will Come or something like that. You know, sister passed away not too long ago, but he put his wife on the cover. He was proud of his black woman. But when people in Europe found out that Otis was black, they didn't care. They went crazy for Otis. Otis had a lot of success in Europe. He was on his way back when they killed him. And y'all keep on talking about it was an accident. No, they killed him. The thing about this thing was it would make murder so perfect. Most murders go unsolved. But the thing about it is it's not about what you know, it's what you can prove. What we do know is that they never figure out in all these 55 years how that plane actually went down. What we do know that the owner of Stax, the co-owner, Jim Stewart, him and his sister founded Stax. Estelle Axton, Jim Stewart, their last two names combined for Stax. He didn't know he didn't own his catalog until Otis Redding died. He thought as a white, think about it, this is a white man who was college educated, who worked in finance as a career. He did not even understand he did not own his catalog at Stax until his key star artist, his marquee artist died, Otis Redding. Otis Redding had enough sense to own the copyrights to his songs and publishing at 26. And then he wanted to control distribution of black soul music with James Brown. They targeted, James Brown was a targeted individual. If you look at what happened to James Brown, especially towards the end of his life, and a little bit before, like in the 80s on that little crazy car chase, he was a targeted individual. He said he was hearing voices in his head, telling him to do things. And I think Dick Greg was saying that he had some dental work done. They put something in his dental work that was affecting with his brain, his mind, giving him messages or something. They hear people telling them things. And people think people crazy, but nah, people, it's stuff they done to us, they do to us still, that we have no comprehension. Don't you know they had heart attack guns? Google up heart attack guns. They had this back, at least in the 50s and late 40s and early 50s. You had people doing espionage work, assassinating people by using sound waves. You know, it's like you use a icicle. You could kill somebody with an icicle, but the evidence can melt away. And y'all talking about we got to ban guns and we got to give people permits. You kill people with anything. You could use anything to kill somebody. You can use other people to kill people without guns. Kill people with anything. So what I mean, so they had heart attack guns where they use sound waves to give people heart attack like conditions. A lot of things, man. But well, get back to Juicy J. This is weird. This screen won't even pop up. It'll pop up when I want to refresh. But I just want to say some of his words, because I think it's important, because also it's a death style. Like, we got to get to the fact that hip hop music is a death style. It's killing black folks. It's genocide. It's cultural and also physical genocide that we got. You know that song, Self-Destruction. We headed for self-destruction. Self-destruction. We headed for self-destruction. Remember that? You know, this is crazy how rap was at the beginning versus how it is now. Well, the reason why we know about Malcolm X is not because of so-called academics, so-called bougie or boule people. It's because of the black youth looking for leadership had to dig in the crates and found Malcolm's albums of his speeches. So you had people like X-Clan and Public Enemy, you know, got the Jungle Brothers. You got all these conscious brothers and sisters sampling this amazing man's voice. You know, and Malcolm X learned how to do public speaking from studying Paul Robeson, one of the greatest artists, you know, singers, performers the world have ever seen. Brilliant man. Speak over 20 plus different languages fluently. But Malcolm learned how to do public speaking for studying the speech of Paul Robeson. By studying Paul Robeson's voice. So the rappers would sample Malcolm X, his speeches and stuff like that, and put it in their music, and it woke people up. It woke the young people up. You know, Spike Lee could not have made the movie Malcolm X without hip hop providing a renewed interest in Malcolm, learning about his life. It was the hip hop people that did it. Even if you look at the 5% Nation, who started that? Clarence 13X, right? Clarence 13X came out of Temple number 7 or Mosque number 7 up in Harlem. He was under the leadership of Malcolm X. So he was kind of like, he was from Danville, Virginia, Clarence 13X. And he started the 5%. He started organizing the young people in New York City. He had a relationship, a very workable relationship with the mayor at the time of New York City. He provided Clarence 13X with funds to send these young people on trips, to take airplane rides and other stuff. I mean, he exposed them to all type of cultural enrichment opportunities and stuff and experiences. And they assassinated Clarence 13X. I want to say, what is 69 or 67? He was assassinated in the projects, but he was talking about, that's the founder of the 5% Nation, a guy who was under the leadership of Malcolm X, who was under the leadership of Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. And they got rid of him. They got rid of Malcolm X. But he was a threat because he was organizing, politicizing the young people. The nations of the gods and the earths, right? You know, 5%, you know, all that stuff. So that goes back into Malcolm. And so it was hip hop that did that. And then you had those anthems like, you know, Self-Destruction. You had We All in the Same Game. That's the West Coast response, so to speak. You know, I never had to run from the Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man. I never had to run from the Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man. Kumo D, self-destruction. We headed for self-destruction. And you think about what came along in the 90s, even when NWA, you know, they were talking about express yourself. And when Dr. Dre said, I don't smoke weed or cess, a couple years later, the Chronic comes out. The Chronic comes out. It changed the whole game. I call it BC, before Chronic. And AC after Chronic, right? It changed everything. Gangsta rap, all this stuff. And it's funny how that coincides with the dumping of crack and guns in the black community around the country, how all this happened. The music changes around the same time they're dumping drugs and guns in the black community. That's not a coincidence, folks. That's called a conspiracy. And it was proven by Gary Webb, an award-winning white investigative journalist. And it destroyed his life and career. And look at the movie Kill the Messenger with Jeremy Renner playing Gary Webb. And look what happened to Jeremy Renner. Some type of weird freak accident. He's hanging on for dear life. I don't know. It's like he's horribly disfigured the way they describe the headlines. I don't know. But he did that movie about Gary Webb. He played the lead, and they got rid of Gary Webb. They say he shot himself 2 times in his head. But he exposed, and that stuff is still online, his investigative series, The Dark Alliance, where he exposed the CIA working with their friends in South America, working with the black drug dealers in America to distribute this poison to fund their operations off the books, to get other means to fund their operations outside of Congress. And this is proven, yet y'all talking about y'all trust the government. It's been proven that the gun that killed Dr. King came from the FBI, yet y'all still trust the FBI. Y'all still trust everybody. Y'all talking about Donald Trump and his tax. Who gonna audit the Federal Reserve? Who gonna audit the IRS? Somebody need to audit the IRS. Somebody need to audit the Federal Reserve. Who has that type of power? Who sway? How sway? So you want me to worry about if Twitch boss was knocked off and you don't know if you could pay your rent for next month? Priorities, priorities, priorities. If he was knocked off, it's like that old Miles Davis song. So what? It's like with Gangsta Boo. So what if she was a sacrifice? And she was a sacrifice. Who benefits from the removal of the queen? They've been sacrificing, folks. We all sacrifices. It's like you look at Jay-Z, Rock Nation. You know, Tory Lane's father talk about Rock Nation. Y'all laugh at that. But you know, Trump did pardon Jay-Z's business associate, last name of Perez. Had connection to drug cartels, allegedly. She got pardoned by Trump before he left office. But yet Jigga and his wife, Bay, it was stumping hard for Hillary back in 2016, and LeBron James, and they all had a big concert for the vote for Hillary in Ohio and all that crap. I remember that. And celebrities are not to be trusted. No celebrity. Dick Gregory told me that in person, over the phone, and on different people platforms, celebrities ain't sugar honey iced tea. They ain't even taste as good as sugar honey iced tea. Because sugar honey iced tea may not always be good for you. That's the trick. But what I'm saying is these celebrities cannot be trusted to be revolutionaries because they never were the court jesters. And there's not no way to disrespect anybody, but this their occupation is to serve at the pleasure of the king or queen. They're not there for the people. If they were there for the people, they would not be in a position to make the money they make. But you think Rock Nation, that name Jay-Z everywhere. Rock Nation. Who is that? Is that the Black Mafia? Who is Rock Nation? The Black Jewish Mafia? Think about Prince. Who did Prince have a deal with? Jay-Z and Tidal, right? Prince gone now. Prince been gone for 6 years, going on 7 years. It's crazy to think about it's been that long. Who controls his music? He had he had a vault full of unreleased music, and they're trying to make you believe he had no will. They didn't even do an autopsy on the bro. They said they found him in the elevator. And he talking about how he feared the elevator, right? In one of his songs, his early songs. But yet they cremated him so fast. Why they had to cremate the brother so fast? Why did they not do an autopsy? Excuse me. Y'all not asking the right type of questions. Who benefits from the removal of the king? Then with Nipsey Hussle, Jay-Z and Rock Nation comes up. Nipsey supposed to meet with top level brass, the LAPD, and he had a connection with Rock. I think he was meeting with Rock Nation or Jay-Z and the LAPD. What's that about? Nipsey out of here. A snitch took him out. Somebody that was controlled opposition that worked for the same folks he was meeting with, allegedly, the same folks that allegedly was harassing him off his property. They was trying to undermine his business on property that he owned because it was viable real estate. Come on now, it's LA Confidential. Come on, man. Who y'all gonna get at? Y'all don't even know the stakes are high. Y'all don't even know who the enemies are. Y'all don't even know who the players on the board are. Y'all talking about, well, Twitch Boss didn't kill him. Who cares? Ain't no disrespect to him, but who cares? People die every day. Just because this man a celebrity don't mean nothing. They don't mind selling us garbage. They don't mind selling us drugs and alcohol and sex and all this crazy degenerate stuff. They don't care. You know what's weird about these entertainers like Young Jeezy? I like Young Jeezy's music, and I guess it's a judgment against me, but he talking about he the snowman in the trap house. His son ain't go to no trap house. He went to university, went to private schools. His son ain't nowhere near a trap house. He ain't no snowman. Cause Jeezy learned like the Jewish mob. They ain't want their kids following in their footsteps. They want you to go to law school, medical school, go somewhere, make the family money legitimate. Don't stay in the mud. Get it out the mud and clean it off. Get it out the mud and clean it off. I don't know what Young Dolph plans was for his son or daughter. I'm sure he didn't care about his son being no rapper. Probably wanted his son to be a businessman. Because y'all keep thinking these rappers making money is like y'all made about Glorilla or Summer Walker even. You don't know their finances. You know the deals they made. Look at Megan Thee Stallion. She don't own her. I don't think she owned the trademark to Megan Thee Stallion. She made horrible business deals to get on. She made horrible business deals to get on. It's well documented. You know, that baseball player, she was signing him. I'm sure he's still eating off of Megan Thee Stallion. to this day, probably. Still got to cut out their career. Then she signed with Roc Nation. Her life is not her own. But Tory didn't want to sign with Roc Nation, right? Tory didn't want to. He said, I can make more money like Donald Trump. I could be like Trump. Because all the rappers want to be like Trump. Now they don't want to be like Trump. But Tory wanted to be like Trump. He wanted to make money off of NFTs and get away with grabbing them by the meow. Y'all, it's two different rules. One black, one white. Two different rules. Two different games. But Roc Nation allegedly made Tory Lanez an offer he couldn't refuse. And it sounded alleged they may have used Megan Thee Stallion as a honeypot. I don't know. It's not my, I don't, that whole trial, I didn't pay attention to it until the outcome. And you start looking into it, you start reading like weird how, they didn't find no gun residue on Tory Lanez. They Lee Harvey Oswald Tory Lanez, because Lee Harvey Oswald didn't have no gun residue on him when the president got killed. The day that they killed Kennedy, there was no gun residue, from my understanding, on Lee Harvey Oswald, which meant that he didn't, on his fingers or hands, he didn't pull a trigger that day. They say he killed two people that day. They say he killed President Kennedy and Officer J.D. Tippit. But the same day, they were supposed to release the last of the JFK files. Donald Trump comes out with his NFTs that sells out within one day for almost $5 million. See, he has the truth about what happened to JFK, probably at Mar-a-Lago. And they supposed to release that about 5 going on 6 years ago. That was made into law back in 92 when Bush Sr. was president, who had a hand, because he was CIA. He had a hand, it's a pot of oil. Come on, look it up. Take a look. It's all online. In that type of shenanigans. But, Roc Nation plays heavy over the last 6 years with the death of Prince. Not saying they got Prince, but Jay-Z had a deal with Prince for control of Prince's intellectual property through his company Tidal. I don't think he owns Tidal. The Tidal still exists. I don't know. I do Amazon Prime Music. I don't know about the situation with Tidal. But when Jay-Z did a deal with Prince, is when he was over Tidal. And I don't even know Jay-Z actually owned anything. He's a mascot for white businessmen. It's like he helped gentrify Brooklyn for the Barclays Center, and also for the Brooklyn Nets. I don't even think he owned a full 1% of the Barclays Center or the Brooklyn Nets. He didn't even make no money. From my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, so you could you know how to get at me. Jay-Z didn't make no money out the so-called investment he made or had the stock he had in the Brooklyn Nets or the Barclays Center. You black folks lost their homes. Them black folks had home ownership in Brooklyn for generations. You know how much them brownstones go for? Black folks had those for generations. Brooklyn has a very unique black history because, like I said, I'm from Memphis. I love Ida B. Wells. This is one of my black history dream girls, Ida B. Wells Barnett. The first place she went to when she got ran out of Memphis was not Chicago. It was Brooklyn. Black folks in Brooklyn held Ida B. down. They held it down. But, Jay-Z sold out Brooklyn for nothing. He didn't get nothing out of it. That's why I say he's not an impressive businessman to me, because he's good at destroying relationships with people that help him get in position from the outside looking in. Now, this is me as a fan of Jay-Z talking about Jay-Z's alleged business practices or alleged lack of ethics. And he's still my solid number 2 when it comes to rappers. And I can be honest about that. I'm not impressed with Jay-Z, the businessman. Yeah, he's a billionaire, but he got it through. He got it dirty, man. You can't make that much money without being dirty. It's like with when they took Ye's $2 billion, or they broke down his empire, they made Diddy a billionaire. Soon as Ye lost $2 billion allegedly in one day, they make Diddy a billionaire. And what does Diddy and Jay-Z be pushing for the black people? They pushing alcohol. Even the music, the low vibrational music. Think about how Def Jam changed when Jay-Z took over. The direction of the music at Def Jam. I'm not even saying he was really calling the shots, because Leo Cohen, the tall Israeli, Leo Cohen, who runs, I think, YouTube Music, if I'm not mistaken. I don't keep up with all that. But I was trying to say the tall Israeli exists. His name is Leo Cohen. He even said on Breakfast Club, he ain't worried about what type of music they making because he got to make money for his family. I'm paraphrasing what Leo Cohen, and Leo Cohen ain't worried about getting shot at a cookie shop or ODing on his mama's porch. He ain't worried about all that. These white folks ain't worried about what black folks getting shot up in their cars. You know, Jimmy Iovine still alive and thriving. Tupac dead, like deader than Jimmy Hoffa. What do you mean? We don't know what Jimmy Hoffa had, but he dead. Jimmy Hoffa be over 100 years old right now. He ain't no way hell he's still alive. But anyway, it is interesting. The timing, because even Lotto, I don't listen to Lotto. I don't listen to Lotto. I mean, she's good. She's great eye candy, but Glorilla is interesting. She's like a cartoon character to me. She's like an anime. It's like she should be in, like, if Sailor Moon was a black girl, they would pick Glorilla to play Sailor Moon. And y'all know what Sailor Moon's really about, right? All you anime people, Sailor Moon's about something else. It's like some Jeffrey Epstein stuff going on Sailor Moon. And that's another story. I know people that used to love watching Sailor Moon back in the day. But anyway, she could play one of them characters on Sailor Moon, but I'm not impressed with her or even with her artistry. But Gangsta Boo gave her a lot of props. Gangsta Boo had a lot of love for Glorilla and Lotto, but they did a song called F the Club Up, and they said it featured Gangsta Boo and Lotto. It's Lotto's song with Gangsta Boo and Glorilla. I did not even sing Gangsta Boo. I don't know. I guess they sample her voice. I said, what's such disrespect? Gangsta Boo is the mother of you all. And the best you could do was sample her. But I looked at that video and was disappointed. I don't care about all the eye candy. Yeah, it looks sexy. Yeah, they voluptuous and get everything hanging out. I wanted to see the homegirl Gangsta Boo do her thing. They didn't have Gangsta Boo feature. They had her voice sampled, I think. It's just weird that all of a sudden they want to put her on at this point, and she been getting sunshine. Then next thing you know, she out of here. As soon as she's working on a new project called A Blueprint, she's out of here. She's out of here. It's like with DMX, out of here. Who they gonna put on post-mortem on her album? Who's gonna be on her album post-mortem? Because the artists don't have any say. They like to kill artists. Because we in the way, artists are the problem. It's nothing better than a dead artist. Because a live artist complains too much. They ask too many questions. It's easier to control a dead artist. Hell, you can kill him and make a hologram and make money off him that way. It's gonna be a Prince hologram. You know, when Prince was alive, you could hardly find any music of his on YouTube. Now he's dead, it's everywhere. Unreleased stuff, everything. It's like Tupac. So they're gonna start making holograms. They're gonna wait till the last of his people die off. They're gonna control all of it. Like with Tupac. Tupac has no control over his image or likeness. He's been dead. He's not alive, he's dead. In a way, Tupac could be quiet for almost 30 years. Just wasn't that, unless he was a hell of an actor. And some people believe he was an actor. Some people believe he was a CIA asset that his mama made a deal with the CIA. And that's another story for another time, but it's worth entertaining because there's nothing that surprises me anymore. There's nothing new under the sun. Anything is possible. But if we look at Gangsta Boo, she dies at 43. 4 plus 3 is 7, right? She dies in 2023. Think about it. She dies January the 1st, 2023, right? And that adds up to what? 1 plus 1, 2, 5. No, 2, 2, 4. Adds up to 9. So you got 1 plus 1 plus 2. That's 4 plus 2. 6 plus 3, that's 9. 9, 7. It's like some sacrifice numbers to me. I'm just saying. I'm not gonna get all in that gematria or all that stuff. I learned my lesson on that. But 3 members dying in their 40s so soon. That's interesting. She died almost 10 years after Lord Infamous died at 40. DJ Paul's nephew. Nobody dies a natural death in show business. All this stuff, it's a game. It's a distraction. And as much as I love these artists, they just people, man. Y'all don't put these people on pedestals. these are false idols. I learned that now. I mean, these people are made to let you down, not because they want to, because they got to die one day. Can't always honor your commitments because things happen in life that's outside of your control. But you look at all this stuff now, you take it for granted. Like even the Tory Lanez thing should have been a wake up call for a lot of people. Not saying that Meg the Stallion didn't deserve any type of justice, but you look at that case, like, you know, they sleeping with Tory, her best friend Kelsey, and her. Kelsey actually was pursuing Tory, or Tory had a relationship with Kelsey first, and Megan came behind her, and then he was at Kylie Jenner's home. He should have stayed there instead of following them, because Meg came back with him, from my understanding. The car situation, I don't know what that was about, but from a witness, it sounded like Kelsey was the one that shot Megan. And anybody got shot by anybody, it was Kelsey. But the prosecution gave Kelsey immunity from prosecution because she changed her story a couple of times. But Tory, I mean, it got him before Christmas. That's like, wow. The jury said, we're gonna spend the holidays with our family. We don't care about this, you know what. And Tory got a little son, but you look at what happened, like you look at his father, y'all say his father crazy. You would hope that your parents would stand up for you like that. You know, regardless of what your son or daughter did, you would hope that parents would stand up for their children like that. And y'all would say he's clueless. He's not clueless because he got a relationship with his son. His son looks like him. He can't deny him. And evidently he has a love for his son. And the information you was talking about came from his son. Y'all believe Whack 100 on everything, but I think Tory would talk to his father before he talked to Whack 100 about anything. No disrespect to Whack 100. But why would his daddy say this stuff if he didn't say it? Because they were trying to get Tory, but Tory said, aha. See, he learned the hard way. At least he's still alive, though. They killed Sam Cooke and Otis Redding for what Tory Lanez was trying to do with his music career. Now, Tory got to fault himself for putting himself in situations to be taken advantage of like that. Because my understanding, he beat up or fought or punched August Alsina amidst the entanglements. And y'all, you know, it's karma to me. It is what it is. I don't think nobody should be putting their hands on people, but whatever you put out in the world, it comes back on you. Whether it be good or bad, that's called karma. Karma is not necessarily a bad thing. It is what it is. So expect for every reaction, there's a reaction. That's how it works. That was real strange how the Exodus DMX album was produced. Bono from YouTube on that. It never got radio play. That song would have been a radio hit. Oh, that was a tight song. Bono, yeah, that was a good. That DMX album, I could listen to it all the way through. He had a song even with Moneybag Yo. I don't know if Moneybag Yo was just put on there after DMX died though. But yeah, Bono had it should have been a radio hit because Bono he just had his autobiography published, right? Law Dog, if I'm not mistaken. Did a couple of songs on it. The DMX album is good, but DMX was a victim, I would say, when Jay-Z took over Def Jam. You know, DMX saved Def Jam. DMX, Dark Man X saved Def Jam. I don't know if there's other artists that can say they had as many number ones in a row as DMX. This man released 2 full albums in 1 year, and both number one for Bullet, both sold millions of copies. DMX was that guy, but them drugs is hell. He had a drug problem before he became a superstar anyway. It really is a blessing he was still alive to make music because he was a criminal from his own telling, robbing people. Luckily, nobody didn't kill him. They beat him up real bad. You know, he beat him up so bad once, had to get his jaws wired. And, it was around the time he got the deal with Def Jam. But they'll give you the tools to destroy you as well as to build. You know, they'll give you the things you need to destroy you as well as to create. You know what I'm saying? The life and death resides in you, and in the power of the tongue. And like these artists, they speak death. It's like Pimp C. Now they talking about sipping on some scissor. They saying Pimp C died from complications from too much lean in a hotel in Los Angeles, December 4th, 2007. Chad Butler. I think he was 33 at that. I don't know how old he was. think I'm just looking up stuff. Yeah, he was 33 like Nipsey. He was a Jesus 33. Both Nipsey and Pimp C died at 33 under questionable circumstances in Los Angeles. Both of these men had connections with Jay-Z. You know, Pimp C and Bun B, UGK did Big Pimpin'. Big Pimpin' really put Jay-Z on in the South. That was a smart move. But, you know, Pimp C had a thing alleged that he didn't want to work with Jay-Z, not because he had any type of animosity towards Jay-Z, but because Pimp C said Tupac wouldn't work with Jay-Z. You know, it was well known that Tupac had animosity towards Jay-Z. He talked about him, you know, he talked about him Machiavelli and other things, but Pimp C was like, you know, like what a lot of us say, what would Jesus do? Pimp C was saying, what would Tupac do? So Pimp C didn't even want to work with Jay-Z at first. Arguably the biggest hit of his career, of Pimp C and Bun B and UGK's career, was Big Pimpin'. And that really was the turning point for Jay-Z becoming a superstar in my mind. Now you had Hard Knock Life, yeah. East Coast, yeah. But you got to think about in the late 90s, you had the No Limits movement with Master P. No Limit was taking over. Then you got Cash Money coming through. Then you got, of course, Outkast, Atlanta scene. I mean, the South was repping, man. The South was hot. You know what Andre 3000 said at the Source Awards back in 95? The South got something to say. So you think about the Source Awards back in 95, you thinking about what Suge, with Danny Boy, talking about, you want to be an artist, you don't want the executive producer dance all in the videos, you come to Death Row, right? But also at the same Source Awards, you had, you know, Andre 3000, the Outkast, Big Boy. Andre said the South got something to say. They wasn't respecting the South at that time, but now everything sounds like it runs through the South. Everything, all the hip hop runs through the South. You look at Memphis, a large sum of the hot rappers right now, young Memphis rappers with diversity of style. And but yeah, Pimp C had a relationship with Jay-Z. Did a couple songs, whatever. He's dead. Nipsey had a relationship with Rock Nation. He dead. You know, Nipsey had P. Diddy produce his last album. He was one of the producers on the album. And I ain't never forget, like they had a little short video on with P. Diddy and Nipsey in the studio. And Nipsey was talking that street dude stuff. And like P. Diddy was a little bit shook by Nipsey talking this street dude stuff. He's talking about how it is out here, how it is New York, da. And Nipsey dead. But P. Diddy was on his last album that won a Grammy, right? That's the album that won a Grammy. It's a decent album. I don't listen to Nipsey like that. I remember when he died, it hit me. It was weird. I was like in a storage facility, getting my stuff out of storage, like getting the last of my things out of storage. And I learned about Nipsey Hussle there. And I wasn't I didn't even listen to Nipsey. I was the biggest fan, but like I was hit by it was weird how they hit me. It bothered me. It disturbed me for the rest of that night. I ain't know why. Then you start finding out things about Nipsey, and then the way they were treating Nipsey down in LA, you thought he was Jesus, but you didn't think about how the LAPD was harassing this man to the last day. It sounded like the guy who killed him, Eric Holder, who's got the same name as our former attorney general under Obama, which is weird. He was alleged informant or snitch for the LAPD. And he kills Nipsey, and Nipsey supposed to meet with the LAPD the next day, the top brass. And this is the same city that's been proven that elements within the LAPD allegedly helped kill Biggie. And they actually undermined the lawsuit that Biggie's mom had against the LAPD. It was a bankrupted city. That's why they undermined that case. They character assassinated Russell Poole, former police LAPD, died under questionable circumstances at the sheriff's office. They say he died of a heart attack. Who really knows? Nobody dies of natural death in show business. Even look at that movie Labyrinth with Johnny Depp and Forrest Whitaker. It's like soon as they made that movie and it's about to come out, this is when Johnny Depp started having legal issues. His wife Amber Heard and all this stuff, domestic violence and all this stuff, and lawsuits and things of that nature start happening But he made that movie. I remember when Sylvester Stallone was supposed to make that movie. He was on board to make the movie Labyrinth about the Biggie killing, and Johnny Depp ended up making it, or Johnny Depp, I don't know, DEPP, you know. Nobody dies a natural death in show business. So we're like, you know, with Gangsta Boo, it's like certain powers that be knew that was coming. Like, and I looked at the Drink Champs, and it was good. I ain't gonna lie, the Drink Champs was good. But they keep on saying, we gonna give you your flowers. We giving you flowers, Gangsta. We gonna make sure you get your flowers. And she drinking, da da da. And, you know, it's funny, Shaq didn't drink nothing on Drink Champs, from my understanding. He refused. I think Cameron didn't drink it either. Because, I mean, it's weird. Y'all getting drunk like this. I don't even drink. I don't like drinking, man. I don't care for drinking. I don't judge people that do drink, but you're not even on. You eat anything before you drink all that liquor like that? And she was like, you know, she was lapping it up and all that. I mean, and rightfully so. She's amazing talent. But the thing about it is that the drugs is what destroyed the group. You know what's interesting? The Beatles, you know, they came over here, and Dick Gregory helped heal John Lennon, who got assassinated in December as well. He helped detox John Lennon and Yoko Ono. And John Lennon told Dick Gregory, hey, look, they brought us over here to hook the young people on drugs through our music. You know, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, that's LSD. Hey Jude, that's about heroin. And you look at the type of music that John Lennon was making when they killed him. He was a peace activist. I don't like to use the word anti-war activist. I want to, instead of being anti, be pro something. Use that energy to be pro instead of anti. I'm not anti-war, I'm pro-peace. You understand? I'm not anti-hate, I'm pro-love. Something like that. And, you know, he made this song Imagine because he was inspired by the prayer book that Dick Gregory gave him. He talked about that. It's documented that he said what inspired him to write the song Imagine was the prayer book that Dick Gregory gave him when he was helping him detox. And Yoko Ono told Dick Gregory that after he helped them, that John never touched drugs again. So he had clarity. He had a way to think about things differently. And they'll use drugs and alcohol to control the artist. Like you look at Elvis. Y'all blame the Colonel, but Elvis made that choice. They'll use drugs to control artists. Like what they're trying to do, Ye, when he exposed how that person was trying to put him in a nut house or put him back on drugs to keep him quiet about telling his truth and about freeing himself, about his emancipation from this plantation. Y'all keep on getting mad about saying, Ye said slavery is a choice. Slavery is a choice. Even for our ancestors, it was a choice. It was. And y'all get mad in your feelings because y'all choosing to be slaves right now. We all choosing it. We slavery by another name. It's not that the people in prison, you got mental, spiritual slavery, materialism, that's the form of slavery. An addiction, you got an addiction that you a slave. You have some type of an addiction, you a slave. So it is what it is, and y'all get mad in your feelings all about that, but it is what it is. And we all deal with demons, I think. I know I got my own dark side that I deal with. And my thing about it is, as I get older, it's not about destroying your dark side. It's about making peace some type of way. It's about coexisting with your dark side so you can make a difference in the light. You know, that what gives me compassion and empathy when I know that I have shortcomings and flaws and traumas and stuff like that. And, you know, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I try to be patient with working with people because you don't know what anybody's going through, because these last 3 years now, this is crazy to think about. Been 3 years since the pandemic. It's like it happened just 6 months ago. You don't know what nobody going through, and people don't know how to really handle things that well. Because it's weird. Like I'll be on the road. You know, everybody's near death. We're near death right now. A lot of us don't even think we're near death. Anything can happen at any time. Your life can change in a nanosecond. I could be on the expressway. I almost got hit by an 18-wheeler, this and that. I almost ran into somebody. There's a lot of things that can happen. And my thing is, like, if somebody jump in front of you at the last minute without their lights, you know, their turn signal on, it make me mad at that moment, but I move on. You know, there's some people that get cut off like that. They'll follow you to your point of destination and they'll confront you. My thing is this, how I look at it is like, it almost happened, but it didn't happen. So why be mad about it for the whole day? Why pursue something that never happened? What's wrong with us? Why do people do these type of things? Why we are so unfocused? But it's by design. It's by like when people say, well, so-and-so triggered me. Why does so-and-so trigger you? Why do Ye trigger you? Why do Akon trigger you? Why do you care about one man's opinion about things? Why do you care about one man's truth? How does that bother you that people choose to express themselves in a way that they are willing to take responsibility for? What's wrong with people having a different point of view? Can we still be friendly and still have different points of views in terms of politics and stuff like that? I guess a lot of us can't stand, and that's, to me, that's a form of groupthink. That's a form of slavery. When you conform and you make something that shouldn't be normal. It's weird, man. It's weird right now. It really is. It's like, they don't dance no more. It's like you look at when you had music that was made with love. Like I don't know if anybody noticed this, but start noticing the hip hop music that really catches on is because they sample love songs from back in the day. You had Tom Bell just passed away. Tom Bell wrote a lot of great hits. He wrote, stuff for the Stylistics, the Delphonics, the Manhattans, like a lot of them groups from the Philly sound. You understand? He wrote a song I love. I always love my mama. She's my favorite girl. He wrote Sadie. Don't you know we love you, sweet Sadie? Place no one. He wrote a lot of those songs, and those songs still, like you listen to Dear Mama. All right. Why you think Dear Mama was so great? It's a great song. Why do you think that Eric Sermon's Just Like Music, ooh, Marvin Gaye? I love it because of Marvin Gaye. I don't know. I ain't paying attention to what Eric Sermon's saying. I like the fact he sampled Marvin Gaye in that beat, man. That will make that song a hit. It's not the rapper, it's who they sampling that make their stuff work. Like when Kanye was sampling soul music in the early 2000s, the way he was sampling it, like even Shaka Khan, people could relate to it because of what he sampled. And you look at the artists, no matter how messed up they were personally, they was in touch with their soul. They were singing from the heart. They were singing from their soul because a lot of these folks got their training and upbringing in the church. And a lot of young people ain't going to the church, and it reflects in the music. Sam Cooke was a gospel star for years before he became a pop sensation. Otis Redding, daddy was a preacher man. He came up in the church singing. James Brown was raised in a whorehouse, but he had his roots in the church too. Mahalia Jackson, I mean, like that's missing right now in the music. The music is dead by design. Like I said, it's not a coincidence that a lot of this music that's destroying the soul was raised at the same time the government was dumping drugs and guns in our communities, in our neighborhoods. It all coincides. Like, even go before the 80s, you had jazz musicians dropping dead from stuff laced with stuff. We lost a lot of great jazz musicians because of the heroin and other things. I remember I was in jazz history class. A jazz professor was a jazz musician. He was talking about how a lot of young artists, when they died, the newspaper might say they fell off the horse. Remember that song, White Horse, white horse, ride the white horse. We think they were riding. What type of white horse they was riding? The cocaine, man. But a lot of jazz musicians, we lost a lot of great ones. I know Freddie Webster, who was Miles Davis's trumpet hero. Freddie Webster was an amazing trumpet player from Cleveland, and he played with Louis Jordan. He played Louis Jordan, king of the jump blues, one of the fathers of rock and roll. He was the trumpet on a lot of his recordings. He played some great trumpet behind the great Sarah Vaughan. And also he was a great trumpet player for Jimmy Lunsford, one of my music heroes. Freddie Webster died because he took some drugs that was meant for Sonny Stitt. Sonny Stitt was a hell of a saxophonist, alto saxophonist. he sounded like Charlie Parker, but he was playing himself. I don't think he was trying to copy Charlie Parker. It just was weird. It was a coincidence that they sounded a lot alike. And I think Sonny Stitt also played on a tenor sax, but Sonny Stitt was known for stiffing drug dealers, I think. And one drug dealer he dealt business with allegedly put some stuff in the heroin, and they thought it was intended for Sonny Stitt, but Freddie Webster used the heroin and died. And I don't know if he was 30 or 29. He was relatively young. He was in his late 20s or early 30s when he OD'd. So Miles Davis, that was his trumpet hero. Dizzy Gillespie said he was Gabriel. So this is high praise. Miles Davis said he was great. He wanted to be Freddie Webster. And then Dizzy Gillespie, of all people, said he was Gabriel. So you can actually listen to Freddie Webster. His stuff is available. I mean, he played with Louis Jordan and Sarah Vaughan, amazing trumpet player. And also he did a song called Yesterdays, one of my favorite jazz ballads of all time. I love Clifford Brown's version. Mary J. Blige sampled that version of one of her songs in her early days. They sampled Yesterdays by Clifford Brown, but Freddie Webster did Yesterdays with Jimmy Lunsford on the radio out in L.A. July 12th, 1943. Go on YouTube, listen to Yesterdays by Freddie Webster, Jimmy Lunsford Band, 1943. It was recorded on the radio. That stuff goes hard, man. It's amazing. It is amazing. But he was dead. But you think about Fats Navarro, another great trumpet player, died in a fat girl. They call him Fat Girl because he was kind of big. You know, he had fat cheeks and all that stuff. He was Cuban. He was black. He was American black and Cuban from Florida. And he was an amazing trumpet player, Fats Navarro. He was the trumpet god for Clifford Brown. Clifford Brown loved Fats Navarro. But Fats Navarro had a real bad drug problem. By the time he died, he was a skinny person. He wasn't fat no more. And I want to say he died at 26. He died in his 20s, maybe 27. But Fats Navarro was amazing. But so this is nothing new. Rap didn't invent this drug issue. But the music always had drugs in the music, whether it be jazz or blues or rock and roll or rap. Drugs always been in the music, you know. But the thing about it is, if you look at like what happened over the last 4 years, a lot of these rappers, man, a lot of young people, they're dying from drug overdoses or whatever laced with the drugs, the fentanyl, whatever they cutting the drugs with. You know, they cut the drugs with anything. You know, my thing is this: I don't necessarily agree. I don't know what happened. Well, drug dealers getting arrested, they sell it to the people. I don't necessarily agree with that because, like, if you're gonna arrest these street dealers like Mac Miller, the rapper Mac Miller, who is a very talented rapper from he's from Pittsburgh, Jewish, white dude, he was good. I like Mac Miller. They got the drug dealer, they gave him the drugs. Even look at Michael K. Williams, a very talented actor. Y'all know him as Omar on The Wire, and as Chalky White on Boardwalk Empire, excuse me. He also was discovered by Tupac, and that's another story. Tupac discovered Michael K. Williams and Biggie. Yeah, put some respect on Tupac's name. But I think they holding the street dealers or whoever he got the drugs from accountable for his death. But why can't we sue Big Pharma? Why you go after these low-level street dealers, but you won't go after Big Pharma for things they have done to people legally? Deception that has been done. They have compromised people's health. You know, why they not go after Big Pharma like you go after these street dealers or the people that sell these drugs to celebrities? It's really unfortunate what happened to Gangsta Boo. And people say there was no foul play. It is foul play. But the thing about it, nobody dies a natural death in show business anyway. And she was a sacrifice. So it don't make a difference who really got her. She got. When you look at, like, you know, Juicy J and DJ Paul, man, they said they living high off the hog. I ain't no disrespect to them, but you know, they took care of their business. Cause I think somebody would tell me about the great blues guitar player Eric Gale. He did stuff. Eric Gale, he's one of the king of the blues right now. They don't even know. See, they don't do our black pioneers or black innovators like they do the white people. I think it's Eric Gale, right? And y'all know, y'all 3-6 Mafia fans, y'all know the guitar player that be playing with 3-6. He was doing ad-libs in the studio, like he was clowning around in the studio, right? Stuff he was doing, just stuff that like powerful blooper reel or whatever, like little ad-libs. But he ain't making money off of that. That's all. I think DJ Paul and Juicy J own the rights to that. That's not his intellectual property anymore, even though he contributed. It's kind of like, what Mace is trying to do. We're trying to get his publishing back from Puffy, saying that he's told Stevie J, sample this down a Ross song for More Money, More Problems. I'm coming out, whatever that song with Diana Ross. But I mean, Puffy ain't a musician like that. He's not, but he's a tastemaker, right? Puffy is a visionary. He's a shrewd businessman. He took care of business. Now, is it Puffy fault the way the game is played? Don't hate the player, hate the game. Is it Puffy fault that people, all these people around them are either dead, in prison, or went crazy, or changed their religion? Is that on P. Diddy? Is it a pity for P. Diddy? Is that a Diddy curse? I don't know. People die every day. Y'all don't forget about that charity event that Diddy held with Heavy D and stuff. How them people got stampeded to death. Death always been around Diddy like that. You look at his father, who his father was. He's a big time Harlem drug dealer. Allegedly was an informant, got his head blown off. That's who his people is, man. But is it Diddy's fault? Is it Paul or Juicy J's fault that 3 members of their group, of their groundbreaking group, have passed on the glory at young ages, in their 40s? It's choices, man. But Juicy J was honest about what broke up 3-6. I could get it. He was honest about what broke him up, which was drugs. I think I could get it now. Okay, Juicy J details wild drug use that led to 3-6 Mafia's breakup. Prior to 3-6 Mafia's anticipated versus matchup with Bone Thugs and Harmony coming up later this week. This is back in this was December 2021. Yeah. Juicy J joined Nas and Miss Info for another episode of The Bridge 50 Years of Hip Hop on November 30th, where he discussed the wild drug use that led to the demise of 3-6 Mafia. From heroin to meth to cocaine, all kinds of pills. He said when asked about the specifics of the drug use by Nas, a lot of drugs were consumed during the times we were together. When everybody was sober and sugar honey iced tea, everybody's on the same page. But when cocaine's involved, things change. But I'm not pointing a finger at nobody. It happened. While Juicy J isn't pointing the finger at anybody, just looking back on the prime years with 3-6 Mafia, he realized that the drugs were the main ingredient in their downfall. It's the drugs. I can't think of nothing else, he continued. That was the main thing that was really effing everything up. People weren't showing up at the studio. People weren't handling the business. The business was crazy and everything was folding. It's just the drugs. The Memphis native even recounted a time where he broke into the late Lord Infamous hotel room to wake him up as he was passed out while high on drugs. I had to bust up in Lord Infamous room before and I was almost in tears, he said. I thought the Igga was dead at first, so I had to get the keys because he wouldn't answer the phone. I was banging on his door, so I had to bust up in his room and had to pretty much beat him using a pillow to wake him up. The last 3-6 Mafia album arrived with Last Two Walk in 2008. After taking a hiatus from the group in 2018, Juicy J is set to reunite with DJ Paul on the Versus stage when they take on Bone Thugs and Harmony on Thursday, December 2nd. Okay. So this is from Juicy J's words from Nas's podcast about what was the breakup. But ain't drugs always the problem? Ain't it always? And I'm saying that the music industry pushes drugs, right? It's a guy named Mike Curb. He's a philanthropist. He's a very wealthy white man, a philanthropist, a musician, pioneer. He was actually trying to get drug promotion banned from music. He actually became a lieutenant governor out in California. I think he was lieutenant governor under Jerry Brown, a Democrat. I'm not. He's like he was a lieutenant governor, but he's a Republican. But he actually was trying to take a stand against promotion of drug use in the music industry. I think in particular in disco and other things. And like, you know, you remember when Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife at the time, she came up with the explicit tags on music like rap and stuff like that. And really it legitimized it. You know, it was a badge of honor to have an explicit content label on the music. You know, all that stuff. But it's the detrimental effects we still feeling to this day. We got these young people dying like this, but yet, you know, it's not just the music, it's government policy. Like I said, you know, it was the government that flooded the community with heroin back in the 40s and the 50s with the jazz musicians. They didn't bring the heroin up to Harlem and the places like that. I mean, the government provided that. Just like now, they bringing in the guns and all this stuff, and we pointing the fingers at each other, not really pointing the finger at the right people or the right entities that create these policies. Look at the fun. I mean, like I said, you look at the music. It's not a lot of love in the music anymore. Cause like you go to these events, like I said, women just dance with other women. I mean, like people, Brother Ron, you should have asked them to dance. Dance for what? They dance and they don't care about me. They see me dancing, they laugh, and then, you know, they don't want to dance. I'm a dance. I'm a dancing fool. You know, people say you dance well for a big guy. I dance well anyway. I love to dance, but I'm dancing for joy. I'm dancing. I'm love to be alive. But you just see women dance with women and dudes just among themselves dancing. It's just weird, man. But that's social design, because even if you look at how women and men communicate in person, you actually can see people texting each other while they standing next to each other. Instead of talking to each other, they'll be texting each other on the phone. And you right there in their face, y'all can talk, y'all can interact, but you want to text. And everybody's an emo, everybody's an empath BS. I'm an empath, I'm an emo, I'm introverted. I'm introverted. I'm introverted. You know, I used to, when I was a kid, I used to hide my head in people's couches. Like I'll go into the crevice of the couch and hide my head in the corner, in the crevice of the couch, and they be talking to my ass up in the air. I did this over somebody's house. I just put my head in their couch. I don't know what they've been doing on that couch. And the people try, how are you doing? My name is so-and-so. They were talking to my ass. My ass was up in the air. They were talking to my ass. And I had my head in the couch, like an ostrich. Like I said, an ostrich, the bird ostrich will put their head in the ground. Or I don't know if that's true. You see on cartoon with the ostrich will put their head in the ground. Is that the bird that put their head in the ground? I don't know. But it showed it in a cartoon. So I was very socially awkward as a little kid. So it's just weird. This is weird. But it's all by design. Because you look at over the last 60 years, the effort by the government to break the family nucleus, in particular the black family. You look at Claudine, the movie Claudine. Let's see. Thank you, Sister Pamela Hyman, for the donation. We love you. Madly for B1. If you look at the Claudine, the movie with Diane Curl, if I'm not mistaken, the beautiful woman Diane Curl, and James Earl Jones just had a Broadway theater named after him. You know, when the white social worker would come over her home, James Earl Jones as a black man would have to hide in the closet when the white female social worker would come over. Claudine had all them kids and stuff like that, but you couldn't have a man in the house if you was getting money from Zaddy, from the American government. They will not allow you to have a man in the house. If you look at 60 years ago, some of the most married people in America were black couples. Some of the most married people in America were black. Because even my mom's father, my grandfather, he was married to my grandmother till she died. You know, they got married in the 50s. He was older than her. over 10 years plus. I want to say my grandma was born in. She was 13 years older than her, and she actually in a way ran away from home by marrying him. She eloped or whatever. She ran off with him, and they moved to Memphis because she was the eldest child of all her siblings. She had a whole bunch of siblings, and she was like a second mother to her brothers and sisters, and she didn't want to. And she wanted to live her life. She wanted to start her own life, so she ran off with my grandfather, World War II veteran. She was born in 36. He was born in 1923. And but he stayed married with my grandma until she died of cancer, May of 98. He passed on in 2005, August 12th, 2005. And for better or for worse, but at least you had a black man with a black woman. And one of my aunts would say how a lot of kids, some of the kids at school were envious, or they thought, wow, your dad is with your mom. Our dad's not. My parents not together, but your dad and mom together. It was like rare for people to see that for some reason. But it wasn't that rare, but it was like, some of the kids wish they had their parents living together. Now you fast forward 60 years later, whatever, it's a whole new ball game. You independent, you don't want no man. I just need a man. They even need a man to inseminate you. Just need his sperm or whatever, his magic jelly, and you be done. I don't want no input in raising the child, yada yada yada. But you look at the effects of men not being men in terms of standing up for their seeds and helping to shepherd their family. You look at what's going on in the world right now, and there lies the rub. I mean, it's not going to be able to work, but people are being irresponsible. It's like I was on Kara Dangerous show, talk about Nick Cannon and all his baby mamas, and it's not all on Nick Cannon. People want to say, well, Nick Cannon is irresponsible. Well, the women are irresponsible too, because they know what Nick Cannon is about. They know his situation, and yet they want to add to it because maybe they want a lifestyle. I don't know these people. I'm not trying to judge them, but I'm saying people like Nick Cannon is such a car wreck. But why is it people want to join the car wreck? Why is it that these women, that he's not forcing these women to be with him or to have his seeds? So it's not just Nick Cannon, but Nick Cannon do have resources. And it's like what Chris Rock said, that Chris Rock joke, when a man say he found a new person or he's dating somebody, the fellas want to know how she looked. When a woman says she's dating a new person or found a man, her lady friends want to know what does he do for a living, how much he makes, and all this stuff. What can he do for you financially and materialistically? So, I mean, in order for a man to get some love, I got to have something to give to the woman. I got to have something tangible, some material thing. I mean, but women, men, we're engineered to provide and protect, right? But it's confusing now because people say they don't need that. But yet something happened to them, horrible. Something horrible happens. They say, well, why y'all not protecting black women? Y'all not raising males to be men. You're not raising no type of men that will be protectors. Y'all like that escape song. What I need from you is understanding, not protection. What I need from you is understanding, not no protection, please. I can do it all by myself. Y'all believe that Equalizer, Queen Latifah movie or show? Yeah, okay. But we all are needed, all hands on deck. This is not to be disparaging towards women at all. This is just it's a wake-up call. But the movie Claudine was a wake-up call to me, because when I was younger, it used to be a comedy. And then I got older. Well, this is very tragic that this black man got to hide in the closet because this little petite white woman would deny this other woman, this black woman, any type of access to resources to help provide for her family in some type of way. This is very fascinating. Very fascinating. Yeah. In the corner, like I put my head buried in the couch. And I was like, I had my head in the couch, your ass up, head in the couch, had clothes on. But they were talking to me like that. They were trying to communicate with me like that. I was very shy as a kid, and a lot of people don't believe that, but it's true. I was shy, and I'm still kind of like, but I know how to navigate. But it's like some people today are very socially awkward. it's like, you know, it's almost autistic. A lot of us seem to be autistic, like undiagnosed. And people make fun of Ye, because I think Ye said he was on that spectrum of autism. But I think a lot of us are artistic. We don't know it because the way we act with each other, how we communicate or don't communicate. And autistic don't mean that you're not smart. There's a lot of highly intelligent people that are autistic. They have a deficit when it comes to dealing with people at on a certain level. And I think a lot of this is like what they've been doing to us in terms of our environment, in terms of our food, and all that other stuff. But if you look at even with the drugs, and I just like, you know, it's people. There's a problem. There's a problem. I think the problem is that people think that nobody should never have any problems. I think that's the problem, when people think that nobody should never have any problem. And to me, that's not realistic. I don't know how anybody don't have any problems, because you look at, you know, people talking about new year, new me, right? You know, people working out, and good for you. You know, people trying to eat better, and good for you. But the thing about it is the game is rigged. They are making sure that you become dependent on the system in such a way that you will give up your rights to own anything, including your own life. You give up ownership over your own life because you become too dependent on the system. Because the way they got to set it up, is a trap. It's a trap. When people think that you could pay your mortgage off and you pay your property tax and you own your land, you own your home, you don't own it. You still just renting. You don't know that. You think you own it. You don't own it. Because they could do a thing called eminent domain. They could do a lot of things. They could do things. They could tend to, you know, they got you thinking they got to pass a law for this and that. You got enough laws on the books. You just got to enforce the law. You don't need to pass this law for that or pass this law for that. You got enough laws. You just got to have people and entities willing to enforce said law. You know, even with the reparations thing, reparations will happen. It's going to happen because it's happening now. Look at the Bahamas, the Caribbean, that Cumberland guy, the guy that played Doctor Strange. You know, they saying his family may be liable to pay reparations because his family owned a slave plantation back in the day. And what's interesting, when slavery ended, I think in Barbados in 1834, his family was paid like $1 million by the government for the loss. They would pay reparations for the loss of their economic fortunes or economic ability to make money off of slavery. They was compensated for their loss. So now they're saying that whatever the guy named who played Doctor Strange, that his family is on the hook to pay reparations. And it's gonna be interesting to see when reparations really come to America, how many white folks gonna start claiming that they're black, like they claim they were Indians. Well, Dawson Rolls, they were claiming they were $5 Indians. Like, you know, Pocahontas, like Donald Trump make fun of Elizabeth Warren, he call her Pocahontas, like you talking about the casino. He said, I don't see too many Indians at these casinos. They say they're Indians. I don't know. Donald Trump trying to tell us the truth, like Dave Chappelle said, he's an honest liar. So it is interesting. It is fascinating. But so it's a fascinating time to be alive. But I think we'll wrap it up. Now, I'm just talking. I don't even know if I talked about everything I said I was going to talk about. I'm just happy that my computer is working, it's holding up as far as I know. Because people say, you said what about people talking to your assets? They're talking about, I mean, I had my ass in the air, my head in the goddamn couch. What I'm talking about. Like a little kid. Because I was very shy. But people say they shy now. I don't think people shy. I think people just afraid to reveal them true selves to people. Like, you know, just be okay with yourself. I mean, I spent Christmas alone this year. I didn't spend it with everybody. I had a good time. I ain't gonna lie. I had fun being by myself. I thank God my mama had that dressing froze over from Thanksgiving, and I cooked some pork chop and some spinach and some other stuff, but I think some green peas. I had fun being by myself. And me, myself, and I keep good company with myself. I'm never bored. I talk to grown-ups all the time that's bored, but I'm not bored. I'm always, it's always something going on. There's not enough time in the day. Even talking about things on the air like this stuff, I think about stuff all the time. But I just want to encourage people to get to know yourself. Be okay being you. Be okay with your shortcomings. Be okay with your missteps, your mistakes. Be okay with just being you. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Give yourself more love. Give yourself more patience. And give yourself what they call more time to be yourself. I think it's very important that people learn not to be afraid to be alone. When being alone can be beneficial for you to deal with others later on. Don't be afraid to be alone. When being alone can be beneficial to you dealing with others later on. That's the key. That's how you make your peace. That's how you get along with the world. When you don't learn how to deal with yourself, you can't really deal with other people effectively. You get frustrated real quickly, and you let people control your narrative. When you don't know how to handle yourself, you letting other people decide your fate for you, control your narrative, and put you in a corner that you should not even be in. You said Donnie Williams. You said don't fake around being alone ain't good. I didn't say there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. You understand? Like I'm not lonely. I'm just alone. There's a difference. Like people confuse lonely with alone. Alone, I'm not really alone because you got different versions of yourself. We all got multiple personalities. We don't all act the same in certain situations. You got different layers to you. There's different layers to you. Like me, myself, and I. It's different people within inside of you, different types of layers and different type of realities that exist in you, and they can exist at the same time. Because I don't think a lot of people they say crazy are really crazy. They just they maladjusted. And like Dr. King said, human salvation lies in the creatively maladjusted. And we all are walking contradictions, and that's the thing. But the thing about it is, don't confuse being contradictory with being a hypocrite. A hypocrite is a person that doesn't acknowledge their contradictions. To me, being contradictory is being human. And my job as a human being, as a human, is to heighten the contradictions to get to some type of resolve or solution. To me, it doesn't pay in this system to be a problem solver. You make profit off of problems. So when y'all say we're looking for them to solve a problem, it's not that they can't solve the problem. They're not willing to solve the problem because you cut off their money train. But you can solve the problem for you. Do not worry about saving other people, because if you can save yourself, you can provide an inspiration for other people to do the same. And my thing is, I'm learning, don't get in the way of other people. Focus on yourself. When you can focus on yourself, when you can invest in self, and what they say do for self, you can do for other people later on. Because like if I'm drowning and you drowning, how can we help each other? If I'm drowning and we drowning, we're in the same lake or same ocean, and how we gonna help each other? Only way we help each other is by helping us drown faster. We try to help each other, but we got to figure out, somebody got to have some sense, have some calmness and some awareness of the situation. You got to think about it in a different way. It's like the way I survive is not panicking. It's about looking at things a different way. And sometimes the universal God will force you to look at things a different way by giving you magic glasses that you can't take off once you put them on. Like Dick Gregory said, the curse of the magic glasses is you will see things that other people can't see, but you can't force them to see what you see. So I see things that other folks may not agree with, and that's okay. I made peace. I'm not interested in trying to get people to think like me, but I'm more interested in getting myself comfortable with being myself, even in times of adversity and uncertainty. You know, so that's very important. That's very important. You say nobody wants to be alone. Of course not, but at the same time, greatness is always alone. You know, sometimes it's a process. You know, if you're gonna become a butterfly, a caterpillar even knows they gotta incubate, gotta be in cocoon. Charlie Parker knew that he couldn't always be in the presence of other musicians to get better. He had to be by himself, the woodshed. Charlie Parker practiced his saxophone for 15 hours a day for 4 years. He wasn't always around people practicing saxophone. And now his neighbors didn't like the fact that he was always playing, but evidently they support him. They said we left him alone because he was able to practice for 15 hours a day for 4 years on his saxophone. Now, if he had Pornhub back in the day, or internet, or social media, or Snapchat, or OnlyFans, I don't know if we ever hear of Charlie Parker. You know, what's funny, I talk to music educators all the time, and they'll tell me, Ron, the stuff you give us to rehearse and do for your programs, we can't do it, not because we cannot do it because the kids don't practice. They don't want to practice on their instruments. They don't want to practice on the music. But I said, you got to look at it. They got more distractions today than Mozart or Bach or Charlie Parker or Duke Ellington even had. You got social media to contend with. You got all this stuff. You know, so me, like, the way they keep us from getting anywhere in society is keeping us distracted in all areas of human activity, is to keep you on drugs and high, is to keep you constantly looking for likes on social media, is to keep you constantly distracted with short, mindless videos. Not all the time, but the job is to keep you distracted enough that you're not paying attention to what matters the most. And a lot of times, if you are a creative person, you got to embrace solitude. You cannot always create in the presence of others. You got to, like, you know, I stay up late at night. This is the best time when it's raining and it's quiet to create art for me, to draw, to contemplate, to write, to reflect. There's nothing wrong with being alone. Sometimes it's necessary. It's necessary for your mental well-being, your spiritual well-being, to sometimes be by yourself, to think about things. Because when you are constantly in the presence of other people, sometimes the time you think is yours ain't yours. People would want to rob you of your space to create. People want to rob you of your space, of your gifts and stuff like that. I'm not saying they're doing it always consciously, but you start thinking about it, most people ain't really talking about nothing. They ain't really doing nothing. They're being busy but not being productive. In order to be productive, sometimes you got to pull the plug on being social. I'm not even saying being antisocial. I'm saying spend enough time by yourself to figure out who the hell you are. Do some intense studying on who you are and how you relate to this world. Think about your relationships. You know, last year was a wake-up call for me because I thought I was solid with some people, man. I thought I had friends for life. And I realized I don't have no friends. I don't have friends like that. I don't know what that is, a friend. Because there's people I thought were friends, but I didn't see them for who they really were. They was always who they really were. But I didn't want to acknowledge the red flags. I overlooked things. I said, well, people got their thing, and I know. But then you start thinking about it. Now, why do these people always put me in a disadvantage? They say they're my friend, but they're not really like standing up for me in certain situations that could benefit me. But every time I do things for them, it benefits them, but it's not reciprocated. So that's really a friend? You know, no, it's not a friend. And this is being a human being. My thing is, nobody wants to be alone, but being alone sometimes is necessary for you to grow into the person you need to be. And don't confuse being alone with being miserable. I love spending time. I love going on driving excursions by myself, going to visit new places and try new things by myself. I have no problem with that. I don't have no problem doing it with other people. It's like I don't have no problem dancing by myself or with other people. Now I don't care for the line. I don't care for like the electric slide and the cha-chas. I don't like doing all that conformity dancing. But I like to express myself, and I could do it with other people. I could participate in a group over another person, but I'm going to dance regardless of what you may think about my dance. I'm going to cook the food the way I want to cook it. I'm not looking for no confirmation or validation or anything at this time in my life. No, when I was like, 20 years ago, your opinion of me really mattered. It doesn't matter that much now. I just got to have a lovable opinion of myself. I got to be able to live for myself, me, myself, and I. That's more important than trying to live for the people. A lot of people are miserable. I've never seen so many people miserable. They act like they happy when they not. You got folks trying to please people that can't please themselves. How can you please a person that can't please themselves? You're up here giving people your best, giving pearls before swine, and they still can't receive it because they can't deal with themselves. If more people were willing to deal with themselves, they can deal and appreciate people even when they fall short. You can find good in anybody. But if you can't find no good in yourself, what good are you to anybody else? So it is best sometimes to be alone. Now, being lonely, you're lonely because you don't know who you are. It has nothing to do with being in the company of other people. You're lonely because you're not a friend to yourself. Everybody should be a scholar of who they are. Like how people study to get dissertation. When people do dissertation, they study to get a doctorate. You should get a doctorate on who you are. Learn yourself. What they say, know thyself. Know thyself. Knowledge yourself. Not about lying. You lying to yourself when you can't accept you. The lie starts when you don't accept yourself. It's like even like you look at people think about the blues. They think the blues is all about sadness. It's about life. Blues is about life. It's the blues. It's not blue. It's not one blue. It's different types of blues. It's happy blues, sad blues, fast blues, slow blues. It's life. Find your lane and get in it and drive at your speed. You know what I'm saying? I think people put too much into people's thought about you. You can't control how people see you. You can't control what people project onto you, but you can control how you respond to people's expectations and projections and stuff and perceptions of you. And also you could choose not to acknowledge people's projections and perceptions of you and get a better understanding and opinion, a second opinion on yourself from yourself. And that's very important. Now, as an artist, we do want people to like us. We do want acceptance on a certain level. That's just normal. It's come with being an artist. Like you look at these celebrities, some of y'all think, well, these celebrities are mean and this and that. They're so high up in the air. But the reality is that they're looking for acceptance from strangers. They're looking for a love they could never get from people that they were intimate with or they call family, right? A lot of these celebrities have traumatic events they went through early in life, whether it be sexual trauma, some type of verbal, mental abuse, or whatever, but they're looking for love in strange and alien places, not with family. Stephanie Mills, they got a clip of Stephanie Mills on social media on a talk show. And she's talking about how you have no friends. Like when people invite you over as a star, as a musician, or as an entertainer, you're not looked upon as being an equal or even a friend. You look upon as being entertainment. Like people love you when you're on top of the world, but nobody wants you when you're down and out. Not even family. Like family will look at you as a meal ticket instead of looking at you as a cousin or a nephew or a son or whatever. And then people will, they look at you on the outside, not realizing the struggles on the inside. Like people will say, well, she got the money. How come she won't pay people this amount of money? She's a superstar. I mean, she's rich. You don't know what she is. You assume you gotta look at the deals that were made. Like I said with Megan Thee Stallion, I don't know if she got any real money. Because you gotta think about the contract she had with the Crawford guy. She signed with Rock Nation, about them 360 deals and stuff like that. So she's beholden to whoever holds the bag. She gonna do what they tell her to do because she's under contract. Can't spell a contract without con. It's a contract. So I mean, she's property and the asset of somebody else's. It's like you look at Marilyn Monroe. I mean, she was a product of the studio system in Hollywood. Now, Marilyn Monroe was a very intelligent woman. She had a very high IQ, but she was known for playing the dumb blonde. But she was an intellectual and stuff like that. And they killed her not because she was dumb. They killed her because she knew too damn much. That's why they killed you. They don't kill you because, you know, it's like with Gangsta Boo. Like that Drink Champ, I will tell everybody, look at the Drink Champs interview with Gangsta Boo. Everybody. Okay, Sister Mimi, good to see you. You just came on. Hey, Sister Mimi, thank you. Good to see you. Somebody said, "Was the context?" There's no context. Context is just living to learn, living to love. That's the context. And we talked about, I've been on here for almost 3 hours. We talked about Gangsta Boo and her situation in Memphis. What really happened to Gangsta Boo? Nobody really knows what happened, but we know that nobody dies a natural death in show business. That's the thing. You know, y'all keep on thinking, let's do an investigation. You can't even pay your light bill, let alone your rent and your car note, and you worry about some multimillionaire who happens to meet unfortunate demise, and it has some funny style business to it, but y'all got things happening in your own backyard and own households that y'all haven't acknowledged. And that's the issue. It's not about what happens to so and so and so and so. Like, y'all got more love for people y'all never met than y'all do for your own family, and I can understand that to a certain degree. But they kill you fast, they kill you slow. It's a killing machine. It kill you all types of ways. And you know, and really, the biggest way they kill people's spirit and wanted to better themselves and wanted to be better versions of themselves and wanted to achieve anything. And they do that in an early age to the miseducation system. They do that early by distorting your foundation of knowledge of self. So that's the thing. So like Dick Gregory would tell me, pray for the truth to come out at noon. Wherever you at noon, pray for the universal God to unleash the truth of what's going on. And then you pray for discernment, pray for wisdom, and you'll be all right for the most part. But everybody has an expiration date. But it was interesting when the news said that the family was surprised it wasn't foul play. I said, what do they really mean? Or what is they saying? What, does she have enemies? And when you live a purpose-filled life and a life anyway that's unconventional, you're gonna make some friends and enemies, and sometimes you make some frenemies, friends and enemies. I don't care what you're doing; it's out of my hand. Cause like I know a lot of things what people do, they're not gonna do anything about it. So I make my peace with it, knowing that people say they love Brother Ron, they ain't gonna do nothing about it. You should make your peace with that too, because if something happened to you like that, nobody gonna do nothing about it. They'll talk about it. You might trend a trend on Twitter or social media for a couple of days or half a day, but who cares? Who really cares? I mean, if you can't do nothing for me now, I'm living. What do I expect from you when I'm dead? And yet I give anyway. And that's the beauty of me. I give and don't expect any type of being reciprocated in return. I don't even expect reciprocation when I give, because I give not to please per se, but I give because it's part of my purpose. I'm a giver. I learn and I share what I learn. I share what I learn. That's what I do. Let's see. Okay, thank you, Jim. It's good to see you on here. Thank you. But I'm gonna play. I think I'm gonna get out of here. I think I'll be on here for 3 hours. I think it's okay. The stream look good. I want to play the clip of what I saw Gangsta Boo in Memphis. I want to say this is 2015. It's right around the time that Koopsta Nigga was fighting for his life. Her band member from 3-6 Mafia. I think he had like some type of brain aneurysm. But you know, brain aneurysm, and he's 40 years old. Lifestyle choices, man, because stuff catches up with you in your 40s. I'm 42, trust me. Stuff catches up at 42 in the 40s and stuff like that. So I'm gonna play this clip. It was at Minglewood Hall, October 2015. Gangsta Boo doing her thing with Killer Mike and LP of Run the Jewels fame. And I want to give a shout out to DJ Trackstar. He's the official DJ for Run the Jewels. His name is Gabe, brother Gabe. We went to college together at Washington University in St. Louis. And he got me in, and I really enjoyed myself. And I appreciate DJ Trackstar for looking out for a brother, for getting me in to see Killer Mike and LP and Gangsta Boo do her thing for the home crowd. But I want to play that right now, and then we'll come back and wrap it up. I think I said everything I wanted to say for the most part. Because we talked about Ye, right? We talked about Ye, and y'all pray for Ye, because I don't know what's going on, because this drink champ thing, is there a curse to drink champs? Interesting ponder, man. They got an interesting track record. It's gonna be people gonna start talking about drink champs too. All the people that come over there, drink that liquor, pour out a little liquor. What drink champs need to do, they need to have a show with Tupac as a hologram. They need to interview Tupac as a hologram, and I will watch that. They'll be like break the internet.
This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News for Dixie for the 21st century.
Take that nigga is a pro. Yeah, he had a lot of bad bitches. And it's bad, but I'm the one who took that boy and told him motherfucking man. Talking about, and he left a bit of rest. Watch it down, giving ass, take my bills where I live. Girl, fuck that nigga's killing me. I'm about my money. Never been a sweat bitch. Can't hit the fucking door. Talking shit that bitch slick. I be from that hit click. Keep it rich, it's so sweet. All these boys kiss my feet. I be on the queen shit. You better flex my realness. Stick your tongue up in my ass. You better show who you fucking with. Run the tubes, love again. You gon' lose, you gon' win. Let's have it on G. I'ma share your ass with all my friends. You want this clip and it's not for that. I want this clip and it's not for that. I put my clip and it's not for that. Memphis, ladies, say it, ladies. Say it. I got this full of love again. Love again.
Yo.
That was so fun.
Yo, before you go, my grandmother used to always say, give people their roses while they're alive.
I agree.
Considering we definitely praying and hoping the best for Koopsta, I would just like to say, one of the rawest absolute female rappers or rappers, period, I've ever heard is this young lady Lola. And her mom is in the house tonight too. She made one phrase famous that has made a lot of rappers a lot of money. But I need y'all to say, when I say, do we love Gangsta Boo? I need to hear yeah ho. Do we love Gangsta Boo? Yeah ho. Do we love Gangsta Boo? Yeah ho. Do we love Gangsta Boo? Yeah ho. Thank you so much, Lola. We love you.
Prayers from Koopsta, nigga, and we running the motherfucking jewels. Yeah ho.
We love you.
Thank you, Mike.
You're very welcome. You raw rapping ass.
On this record, and then Boo came in and made us blush like fucking children. Yeah. And we've been blushing like children ever since.
She's amazing.
And we really love her for it. So one more time, please, a round of applause for your hometown girl.
Lola.
Yeah, that was an amazing night, man. There was like a lot of stuff going on. Kusta Nika was on the last leg. I mean, he died October 9th, 2015. So there was having prayer for Kusta Nika, and he passed on. But yeah, Gangsta Boo, phenomenal talent, amazing stage presence. That's an amazing MC. I mean, just listen to her catalog and stuff like that. And she had that yeah. I mean, I don't know if she made any money, if she was able to make any money off her stuff. I know that she talked about how, you know, P Valley did they did a tribute to her using Where Them Dollars At song she did, and she said she got a check in the mail, and that came out in '98. So I think she's still getting paid residuals off her intellectual property or her God work, whatever. But yeah, man, it's just unfortunate that she passed on, but she left a mark, and she is the blueprint. Like, without, you know, Gangsta Boo, there's no Megan Thee Stallion, no Cardi B, no Glorilla, no Lotto, a lot of those people. It's kind of like if you look at, you know, Kobe Bryant, he's like the Michael Jordan for Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry and all them guys. They look at him like some of us look at Michael Jordan, you know, from before. He was their Michael Jordan. And like Gangsta Boo, I mean, she was a different beast. And I'm just glad she got some recognition while she was here. And I wish I could have met her. I mean, to see her in concert, I'm grateful. But to have a chance to interact with her, because I did have a crush on her. To me, she was a very attractive woman. She had a swag about her and stuff like that. And you just hope that she know that she was loved. But you never know, because also what people talked about is that she just lost her father. She was a daddy's girl, from my understanding. She was a daughter that grew up with a lot of sons around her. So she had a lot of brothers around her. I think she was the only girl out of all those boys by her mom and dad. But I think her father just passed, and you know, people grieve in their own way. It's hella days. I don't call it holidays. It's hella days when you go through stuff like that. And let me see something. I'm gonna read some of the articles about Gangsta Boo, and then I'm gonna get on out of here. I think I did my due diligence. I mean, 3 hours. Come on, folks. And it's funny to me. It's hard for me to get on sometimes. Then it's hard for me to get off once I'm on. I don't know what that is about, man. But check in on your people, man. Check in on yourself. And people said that, you know, man, I didn't know she was going through that. I didn't know he was going through that. And it is what it is, man. Life is hard for everybody in different ways. I wouldn't, you know, beat yourself up over people dying. Lord knows there's a lot of people died that I know this over the last 2-3 years, man. It's crazy. Trying to look for the let's be mindful, be loving, be lovable. Okay, I like this one. Let's see. Let's go. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, sexy boo. Call you sexy boo. Sexy boo boo. Hey, boo boo. Picnic basket. Let's read this. What I want to read. Okay. Gangsta. I'll read this from Commercial Appeal, the Town Paper, Memphis Tenor King. Yeah. Stay fly. Rap pioneer, 3-6 Mafia member, Gangsta Boo dead at 43. Michaela A. Watts, Memphis Commercial Appeal. She was sometimes called the Queen of Memphis. Other times she was Lady Boo, but most often she was Gangsta Boo. Given name Lola Mitchell. Oh man. Lola, don't you know we love you, sweet Lola? Place no one above you, sweet Lola. Da na 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 na. Trying to see. I'm trying to get some quotes from up here. Okay. On the first day of 2023, Mitchell, 43, was found dead in a friend's home in Memphis, according to the Commercial Appeals news partner WMC Action News 5, who spoke with Delmar H. Lawrence, also known as Mr. Dell. Lawrence was a collaborator with 3-6 Mafia, the iconic Memphis group that propelled Mitchell and others to fame. Lawrence's comments were some of the many that poured from fellow artists who worked with Mitchell. The cause of Mitchell's death is unknown. Her passing comes just 1 year after Memphis grieved the killing of Castelia Heights born Adolph Thornton Jr., best known as Young Dolph. Monday afternoon, police confirmed Mitchell's death in a tweet saying officers found her deceased around 2:18 p.m. Sunday when responding to a call in the 1600 block of Rains Road. The investigation is ongoing and results of her autopsy are pending, but there were no immediate signs of foul play, police said. They always say that because they could never solve. Most murders go unsolved anyway. And she is a rapper. I mean, who cares, right? By early Sunday evening, tributes for artists Mitchell worked with directly or influenced began to accumulate. Alfonso Bailey, a renowned Memphis rapper known as Al Capone with a K, was a friend and collaborator of Mitchell. He described Mitchell's passing as a deep, significant loss for Memphis. Mitchell, he told the Commercial Appeal, let him know early on what his own style and influence meant to her. This is a big loss for the Memphis rap community, Bailey said. MOOR is one of the first to represent female rappers in a major way and still is respected by the new female rappers today like Glorilla and Gloss. Gangsta Boo is one of the reasons Memphis rap is global today. We will miss her and will always represent her legacy. I'm sending my condolences to her family. DJ Paul, one of the founding members of the 3-6 Mafia and early collaborators with Mitchell, took to social media to pay tribute to her Sunday with a wordless post of Mitchell at a turntable mixer. Beautiful, iconic. Largely considered a pioneer among female rappers, Mitchell's steady rise as an ambassador of Memphis hip-hop started with her work on 3-6 Mafia's first full-length studio album, Mystic Styles. That's a classic. It still sounds good to this day. I listened to it last night in the mid-90s, right? She was a teenager then, y'all. She recorded several albums with the original core of 3-6 Mafia before parting ways with the group after the 2001 release of her second solo album, Both Worlds 69. And while her initial success is largely associated with 3-6 Mafia, her solo work held its own. In 1998, she released Inquiring Minds, which included the hit Where Them Dollars At? Where Them Dollars At? Come on, y'all. Okay, all three of her solo albums ranked on R&B charts. A steady stream of mixtapes and collaborations kept her name in play over the span of a career nearly 3 decades long. Nearly. Actually, a career was 90, 2000. Actually, 4 decades long. If you think about it, the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, now it's the 220s. It's 4 decades. And while her initial success is largely associated with 3-6 Mafia, her solo work held its own. In 1998, she released Inquiring Minds. Okay, I said that, which included the hit Where Them Dollars At, right? Yeah, okay, Last week, Mitchell filmed an unreleased video with fellow Memphian and award-winning producer Drummer Boy, according to a written statement for Echo Haddix of Echoing Sounds. Haddix also shared a statement from Veronica Mitchell, Mitchell's mother, and other members of the family. The Mitchell family would like to thank everyone for their condolences regarding the untimely death of Lola Gangsta Boo Mitchell. The family is asking for your continued prayers and privacy as we process the loss of our loved one, they said. The statement from Haddix also said that the cause of death had not been released due to the ongoing investigation. Mitchell's relevance as one of the first major female rappers representing the South has endured, and she's shown a spotlight on other female rappers who follow. Excuse me, including Gloria Woods, better known as Glorilla, the latest Memphis rapper to nab the national spotlight with hits like FNF. F Igga Free. In November of 2022, Mitchell made an appearance on the popular cultural program Drink Champs and spoke of the rising stars of Glorilla and Memphis rapper Gloss Up. Supporting women in rap, Mitchell said, was important. It just made me feel good because they went to whack and they represented Memphis right. On Sunday evening, Woods shared screenshots reportedly a conversation between her and Mitchell. She always supported me and the girls way back before we blew up, Woods said. Okay, it's a commercial field reporter, Catherine Burgess, contributed to this report. Now, that's interesting, right? That is fascinating. There's no natural death in show business. Yes, rest in peace. I mean, evidently she was a decent person. For she seemed like she was I don't know her. That's a good question. I mean, it's like people loved her though. She had love. Even from being like helping fellow female artists younger than her. Now, you know, you see who they positioning to benefit from the passing of the torch and the passing of Lola Mitchell, also known as Gangsta Boo. Glorilla is the beneficiary of the passing of Glorilla. You know, she's one of the beneficiaries of the passing of Gangsta Boo. Glorilla is. I said it right. I think I said Glorilla. She benefits from that. I mean, basically, Gangsta Boo co-signed her and the other young ladies, some other folks, but you know, the world's a stage. And my thing is, you know, look at who benefits from the removal of the queen. You know, they call her the Queen of Memphis. I never heard Gangsta Boo being called the Queen of Memphis. Now, you know, she's the Queen of Memphis rap, but the Queen of Memphis, like, okay, even Young Dog, they say he's the King of Memphis. King of Memphis rap, okay. Now, Carla Thomas, a friend of mine, the great Carla Thomas, the first lady of Stax Records, she just celebrated her 80th birthday in December 21st. She's known as the Queen of Memphis Soul, and rightfully so. And I'll give that title to Gangsta Boo in terms of the Queen of Memphis rap. I believe Gangsta Boo is right up there with Carla Thomas in terms of her importance. Different lanes, of course, but influences both respected. I look at not only her, but also, you know, Ruby Wilson, the Queen of Bill Street, and also you got Memphis Minnie. Louis Armstrong's wife has made him a superstar. You know, Lil Hardin Armstrong, who's from Memphis. You know, Memphis women made some powerful moves when it came to the culture of the music, and they should be well respected. Memphis connected women. So I mean, her history is secure. It's secure. You know, as long as their fans also can become scholars in keeping her memory and her contribution alive. As long as the people speak on her name and they listen to her music and they can acknowledge her achievements, you could document her achievements so it won't get lost with the passage of time. So people know that Lola Mitchell made her mark as Gangsta Boo. And I think everything will be okay. I don't think that death is a finality. Like, you know, energy never dies, right? The end is not the end. She is more powerful now as a righteous ancestor than she ever could be only in her human temple, in her human mortal core. Like Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory is very powerful as an ancestor, as a righteous ancestor. He moves around. It's not a day go by that somebody don't mention Dick Gregory. Like I was looking at a reel, I think it was on Instagram, some Instagram reel, of Waka Flocka. He'll tell me how Dick Gregory changed his life, like Waka Flocka. I like Waka Flocka. I like his stuff, you know, Brick Squad and all that stuff. I go hard, and you know, yeah, you know, throw your hands, all that. He said that Dick Gregory changed his life because, you know, Dick Gregory always say, don't be a Rolls Royce driving through the hood. A Rolls Royce don't belong in the hood. And so Waka Flocka thought about what Dick was saying. He said, man, I was driving this expensive foreign car, whatever. I think I was driving like a Bentley or something like that. He said, the only reason I drove through there with my Bentley was to make people jealous. I wasn't trying to add to people. I wasn't respecting the struggle they was in. I was disrespecting the people because I want to big up myself. So he said he changed his outlook on life. He said he achieved everything he wanted at 23, but he didn't even know how to open up a bank account. He didn't know nothing about finances, how to get a loan and stuff like that. But once he figured it out, he said, why would I go back to the streets when I could do it legitimately? Like I said, instead of me going back to the streets and trying to sell a package to come up, you know, I'm gonna say like Superfly, like I'm gonna do one more big deal and retire. He said, I can go to the bank because I got good credit. I could get like a $10 million, even $100 million loan if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Because I built my credit up. I did things legitimate. Why would I return to the street mentality when I could get more things done in legitimate mindset and space and state? I mean, Waka Flocka, man, he was dropping some gems, but he said Baba Dick Gregory inspired him when he heard him talk about what does a Rolls Royce does not belong in the hood. A Rolls Royce has no business in the hood because you disrespecting the people there. You know, so I mean, Dick is doing this thing from beyond the so-called grave. So death is not a finality as people think. She's just transferred energy. And now her legacy will be a living one because of the people she invested in, the people that she inspired. And they're going to shout her name and they're going to sample her music. They're going to, you know, and she got her album coming out. It's probably the biggest selling album of her whole career, which is unfortunate because she won't be here to enjoy it. I know it's a contradiction. You say, well, Brother Ron, you said she ain't dead. I said, well, she's not in the space that we recognize her as a human being. She won't be able to enjoy in this type of space that we all coexist in. But you know, mission accomplished, job well done. She did what she had to do. I mean, you think about what if Big Scar lived till his 40s, but Big Scar did what he did. I mean, he lived and he created and then he left the building. Great, bro. Truth Hunt, it's good to see you, bro. Up in here. So that's interesting. I don't know, man. We live in a death style. I mean, that's how they make their money. It's nothing better, nothing that can make more money than a dead artist. You can make more money with an artist dead than alive, still. And even more so when you think about they could do holograms now, they could bring them back, you could throw they likeness, you know, all this stuff. Lil Chat, that's good. I don't know where Lil Chat is. You know, it's funny because like Memphis is such a small place. You know, it's a small place. It's a city. It's a big enough. We got more people in Memphis in the city than St. Louis and Atlanta. Hell, Atlanta got a large metropolitan area, but in the city proper, Memphis got way more people than St. Louis and more people than Atlanta. We got almost 700,000 people in Memphis in the city. But you know, Nashville got more. It's the biggest populated city in the state now. But I was at the Firestone getting my oil change on my car, and then I ran into LaChat mom. LaChat mom is a wonderful person, beautiful spirit. She loved her daughter. She's proud of her daughter. This was several years ago when I ran to LaChat mom at the Firestone. She's just bragging on LaChat, and it's good. So I said it's quite possible. I wish I could have met Gangsta Boo because like it seemed like I was in the same vicinity. Like my understanding, she was at the train station, filming that music video with Drummer Boy. They made an appearance at the train station. It was like last week or so, and I had talked to security yesterday, And we talking about, she, oh yeah, they was here last week. I said, they was here last week. I said, yeah, man, I heard a drummer boy and da 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 da. I said, really? And we just honored drummer boy. I wish I would have known. I would have loved to have met Gangsta Boo. Like me, I saw her perform, but to meet her and thank her in person would have been awesome. Not knowing then the Rail Garden, I was thinking about going to 8 Ball and MJG at the Rail Garden. I had a chance to meet 8 Ball and MJG when Minister Farrakhan came to town. Took a picture with both of them, but I saw 8 Ball several times at Kroger's out in East Memphis, Winchester House Cross Kroger's. He was in the frozen food section. I was by myself. This had to be like around 2006, 2007. And she, he walking by himself. He had no security. I said, man, I said something like, do you know who you are? He said, yeah, I know who I am. I said, man, wow, you 8 Ball, man. He was cool and stuff. I met him twice in that Kroger's, I think. And then I finally took a picture with him and MJG. And like I said, I love 8 Ball MJG, man. They was like the blueprint for a lot of the Southern rap that came out in the 90s and beyond. I mean, their influence is felt from Houston to Atlanta and beyond, Little Chat, man, she's talented, man. I just hope that, I know she got to be taking this hard and stuff like that, but she's soldier on and do her thing. We appreciate you, Law Dog. I appreciate y'all receiving that information. We love you madly. Yeah, but I guess I'm gonna get out of here now. It's been almost 3 hours and 30 minutes. But I guess the stream works. Hopefully this will be working and we get some things done. But like the words from Brother Herb. Please spread the word. Also, Cash App your support. $R2C2H2. That's $R2C2H2. Also, Google Pay, PayPal, and Zelle your support. R2C2H2 at gmail.com. That's R2C2H2 at gmail.com. Thank you all who have donated. Sister Duckworth, we thank you so much for your donation. And other people who have donated, we thank you so much. We love you madly. Sister Pamela, thank you so much. Some other people, y'all been really looking out for a brother. Help me pay some things off, but the best is yet to come. And also, if you like Art of His Art, you could buy it. Got a 5 for 50 deal. R2C2H2.com. Wear Art of His Art. I got my Coltrane shirt on. Coltrane died. I'll say Coltrane died at 40, right? I think Coltrane died at 40. One of my favorite musicians of all time. Go below this description box on YouTube. It should be my Teespring official store. I don't know, YouTube be doing some funny business. Like I know the Teespring shelf is there, but I think when you click on it, you get a 404 page. But click on whatever that below that 404, it'll get you to one of my stores. And it's weird. I gotta call what's going on with that. But I'm gonna talk about it. But let me see, Zelle, you can Vimo at R2C2H2, at R2C2H2. You got Apple Cash, 901-299-4355. Even the Patreon.com/WeAllBe. That's Patreon.com/WeAllBe. Also, you could be a member. Brother Griffin, thank you for holding on the membership. I think you're still there. We're going to get some things popping off. But before I get out of here, let me read a disclaimer. And we'll wrap it up. I don't even know if I talked about, I'll be all over the place just dropping. But y'all pray for Ye. I don't know what's going on with Ye. Hopefully it's he getting his Art of War on, his Sun Tzu on. Nothing too serious, but God bless Ye and the people out there. Because human salvation does lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted, what Dr. King said. So disclaimer, the views expressed by host and guests on the WeAllBe TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of WeAllBe News or the WeAllBe Group Incorporated. WeAllBe News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. Thank you all for y'all support. But before I go, because people said, drugs killed her and stuff like that, and we don't know. We pray that the truth come out at noon, like Baba Dick Gregory would say. I have a story about drugs and stuff. Why it's important that people start saying no to illegal as well as maybe legal drugs in some cases, because the legal drugs kill you too in some cases. I have a relative. He was a very gifted athlete. He was very gifted in baseball. He was highly recruited. A lot of talent scouts would go to his high school baseball games. He was an infielder. I think he played first base. And he went to a party. And the people at the party, his so-called friends or associates that he was hanging out with, they put something in his drink unbeknownst to him. They wanted to see how he would respond and get a good laugh out of him. They put some stuff in his drink. And so he had a real bad reaction to the stuff in the drink. And ended up having some mental episodes where they had to check him in to basically a mental institution. And his mom had such powerful prayers over his life. She's a very spiritual woman. She prayed for his ability to overcome this horrible setback. Needless to say, he lost any hope of really realizing his field of dreams, right? Being a professional baseball player. That was over with because of the stuff he was dealing with mentally. It really messed him up real bad, but somehow he was able to recover, loving parents, praying mama. He was able to drive trucks for a living for years across the country. The man drove everywhere. He drove mountains and everything. Drove from New York to California a couple of times. He's been to I want to say he's been to all the 48 continental states. I want to say I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. He's been to all the continental states, right? The 48 states. But anyway. Yeah, man, the drug stuff, you don't know what people would do. And everybody ain't your friend. That Shanquilla Robinson should prove that everybody ain't your friend. So y'all be out there, be vigilant, be vigilant, be mindful, be lovable, be patient, be compassionate. And I think, I gotta give me some Z's. He said, sister, you love the Soul Train shirt. Yeah, thank you so much. I love Soul Train. And you also said, yeah, I mean, get that in your life. Prayer changes things, and give yourself a chance to survive and thrive, man. That's what I would tell people. So thank you all for your patience, for your understanding. I think I'm about to chop all this up a little bit. I'll give you a nice little Gangsta Boo tribute out of all this talking I've been doing. Been very therapeutic, actually, and I'm glad that the stream has held up. From what I know, looking at the chats, like I had a good time. Head by all. Keep on walking, talking, dancing, loving, and making it do what it do. In the words of Great Skeleton, we love you madly. In the words of Brother Ron, keep on producing and pushing. And also know that the best is yet to come. See how it works somewhere. Good night, everybody. One love, man. Love. All right.